Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project. Are you ready?
And welcome to the Eric McKenna Project. We are live at the Boogie Street Studio in Pittsburgh, and this is going to be a good one, friends. I've been waiting for this one. In studio tonight, Mr. Fred Kowalo.
That's me.
What's up, pal?
What's happening, buddy? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. And first, I want to thank you for doing this. Not that I didn't think you would, but I want to thank you for doing this.
I'll try to fit you into my schedule, Lee.
You did, and it's hard. With your travel schedule, it's pretty hard. We're going to just basically get this right out right away and off my chest right from the beginning. This is going to be a very unique opportunity for me. The thing I love about this show is it's open genre. And when we devised the show, it was, how are we going to do it? We're going to do like a question-answer session, an interview. What scope of fields are we going to talk about? And the idea from the beginning was simply an open genre, open discussion. I'm not a journalist. Don't play one on TV. Don't want to be. I'm a show host, friends. This is what we do. But this is a real treat to have Fred. For those of you who don't know Fred, a little background, and feel free to correct me anytime you want. But Freddie's a hometown native like myself. And again, full disclosure here, one of my closest and dearest friends, which makes this even more unique and a little more difficult than a standard interview, so to speak. So we're going to have a casual conversation. Fred has worked in music, film, stage, and on and on and on. And whether it's working in Pittsburgh on projects, in movies, even just as a stagehand many years ago, and sometimes right to fill your schedule sometimes.
Still time. Yeah,
but most of the people that have known Fred over the years who have interacted with Fred has seen his work. They've seen it in the area of rock and roll. He is, along with a handful, I can probably count them on one hand, the amount of high-quality, truly high-quality guitar techs in all of rock and roll. And he doesn't like me saying this, but he is right there at the very top. Self-taught, very much in demand. When one gig ends, he's being called on by 4 or 5 other bands. And I just basically want to talk tonight about your journey and how you started with your love of music, Fred, and here in Pittsburgh, and just taking it all the way up to just basically your latest term with your latest band and what your future is going to be. But I just want to take it back to the beginning. But more importantly, I want you just to have a freewheeling show with me tonight and just have a lot of fun. And for those who know you, I think it'll be a real treat because people think they know you and they know elements of you. But this might be a chance to shed some light on the entire picture of Fred Kowalo.
You are such a suck-up. You are in so much trouble.
But it's all the truth, though.
Yeah,
it's all the truth, right?
I know it's the truth.
It's
but
the truth as I see it, right?
I am so
and
modest.
It's my show. But I think it's important that the audience know that it's a unique treat for me to be able to interview my friend, one of my dearest friends.
Well, thank you.
But I think that's why it's going to be rocking and rolling here, and I think it's going to be full of stories, and we expect all that. But at the same time, your story is that of someone who is accomplished in their field, and it's a field obviously tough to break in. Tough to break in. We can talk about the whole thing, but so it's just I don't like a format, as you know. There's beer here. I will tell you one thing, but this is Fred Kowalo, so. I was thinking all day, we're trying to make this, not PG rated, but we're trying to dabble somewhere between R and PG-13. So I'm letting you know from the very beginning, this Starbucks cup here is the swear jar.
Oh my God.
So I hope you brought get your money out, pal.
I've got a pocket full of change over there.
Okay, this is the swear jar. Not that he always swears, but we're just trying to keep it regulated. We're trying to keep things in good order here, Fred.
I better look down.
So you just came off the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so who were you out with latest?
Latest, I was out with the David Bowie tribute band, and I took care of Carmine Rojos and Earl Slick, 2 legends in the business.
Earl, wow.
And he was amazing. These guys, they were dreams to work with.
Really?
And in all my years,
isn't everybody, Fred?
You are. In all my years of being on the road, I've had great rapport with a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. I spent 3 weeks on this as a fill-in, and just to watch these guys play every day, it's how rock and roll should be. It should be, we get into this business to have fun, and so many times everything's so tight, and everybody's,
grind.
and everybody's, I hate to say it, but like, there's a lot of stress in this business. There's a lot of stress on the job. These guys had fun. And it was, you could see that they liked each other and they were out there smiling, and it really was refreshing, because I've been in places where the road's not fun anymore. I stopped having fun.
Really?
And it just, years of stress, these guys, they went out and they laughed and they joked and we had a great time. And it kind of renewed my faith in being on the road,
Well, I felt that, I think, in your social media posts, which, I have a unique insight because I happen to know you well. But it was really, for me, it was good to see you having a good time on the road doing what you love. And I can't say all the time in the last couple of years that kind of came through. I didn't get that vibe. Yeah.
I had a lot of different things just recently that, I just didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be on the road. I wanted to stay home. And I finally came home, and I was just lounging around waiting for my next phone call, and they always come. And just, I think I'm at the point where I can pick and choose what I want to do.
Sure.
And I just spent 10 years with Megadeth, and I've gotten other calls in between from big bands. And I was unceremoniously fired. We all were.
We're going to talk about
We'll talk about that. Dave woke up on the wrong side of the bed one day and fired everybody. But, and so I was kind of bitter. I just didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do it. It's just like, being on the road cost a lot of things. It cost me, a lot of relationships. It's cost me a lot of time. I missed a lot of things.
Sure.
I missed Boogie Street, what we used to do, because I pretty much went away and we didn't do anything anymore, And I miss that. I miss being home in Pittsburgh. I miss making movies, because I make movies here in town.
Right.
And it got to the point where I just didn't want to be on the road. And I got called and said, "Please, can you come do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And it was a guy I knew that called me, and I said, "Yeah, it'll be fun." And he told me who it was, and I'm like, "This is going to be great," because I love Earl Slick.
How many stories start out like that? It's going to be fun, Fred.
Oh, you're going to love it. Here's what they tell you. These are the lies that they tell you on the road. The guys are great guys. They're easy. They're self-sufficient. They practically tune the guitars themselves. All you have to do is just be there for them.
Sure.
It's wrong. It's a bunch of shit. Hang on. You knew it was coming. Yeah,
of course. And you're going to pay.
Eric and I used to have desks like this that sat across from each other at Boogie Street. I could probably string together words in combinations that nobody's ever heard before. So,
correct.
And so he knew to bring us Swear Jar. And probably,
you know what? And let's get that out of the way, too. For those who don't know Fred, and you're kind enough to be listening to the show, I appreciate that. Fred is a lot of things. But one of the things he was part of the Boogie Street Guitars family from day one. I started in '99 when I took the office in Roslyn Farms in 2003. I knew of Fred. Fred was a local musician here. He was at that time already touring with Black Label Society and Ozzy Osbourne. And I needed a guitar setup, friends. And I called Fred, and I'm like, "Fred, you remember me from way back?" Well, he said, "Oh, Eric, how you been?" I said, "I got this Boogie Street thing, and I got an office, and I need some guitars worked on." So I couldn't be there. I left the key for him. Came in. All the stuff was done. Next day, I was like, "Wow, thanks, Fred." He called me back. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just up here." He comes up again. I looked him in the eye, and I said, "Fred, that was remarkable. Thank you for the work. What are you doing here?" He goes, "Well, I'm between gigs and all this stuff." And you moved in. He was there one day, and the next day, he moved in.
I moved in.
Road cases.
And the road cases are still here. Look, I left my shit.
Yeah, so from that moment on, he became not only just one of my dearest friends, but also a true part of the creative force of Boogie Street. Thank you. And everything that we did, everything we touched, everything we created with Washburn, the great folks of Washburn Guitars over the years, Paul Stanley Guitars, Scott Ian, Dan Donegan, Roger Waters, Dimebag Darrell, all the legacy things we did in the rock and roll world, Fred had his input on. Sometimes he had his input on and he was out on tour and wasn't even there for the creative part, but he always would call in and we'd spend hours talking about things. A great deal of my success I owe to you, and I will publicly tell you now. Thank you, my friend.
No, thank you.
So that's where our history is for those who don't know. Fred was an integral part of what Boogie Street was. So, And of course, he kept me laughing and in stitches generally. we did kind of sit next to each other. We pushed our desks together, and his big cavernous office at that time had nothing in it, right?
Yeah, right. We built the empire.
We did, yeah. But I mean, just between. And I remember my parents would stop in once in a while.
Yeah.
And you would do all these imitations, and like you would just have them bust out a gun in there. It was just good memories. But yeah, the Boogie Street thing. So, anyways, let's go back to your point. We did sit right next to each other.
We did sit. We sat next to each other, and I think I got more and more opinionated and as I came out of my shell.
You did. Well, it didn't take long. It didn't take long.
And I would tell him these stories, and then I just noticed one day that the desk was like this. And then I tell him something else, and I know that the desk was like this. And I'm like, anyway. And then I noticed that my desk was around the corner like this, and his desk is there. And then eventually I was like in some other room. And he's like,
I couldn't get any work done. You see what I'm saying? I was laughing too hard.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, that's exactly what it was. As I would tell stories to Eric about the road.
Oh,
and we would go on and on and on, and it just became. I'd be up there, and I can bullshit. Like I just like reach for it because actually in my brain I can hear the swear word coming, and I'm like, don't fucking say it. I'm like, don't say it, don't say it. And
I'll tell you, I hope you brought your cash tonight. Buddy.
No, I got a pocket full of change. I do have cash,
okay.
But I'm like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And then it just comes out. So, I mean, but that's what you.
Okay.
That's what you.
I wouldn't consider you. I have certain friends who use the F-bomb in conversation. It's uncomfortable for you. You were never that way.
Oh no, I can pretty much make that any kind of
you're
particle
like
of speech.
You're like a speech chameleon over there.
I know 58 different ways to use that word. So,
well, the F word has so many different meanings. I mean,
exactly. It's, and I know all of them.
It's an adjective, adverb, and noun. It is what it is. But yeah, our time together was great. And the great thing about Freddie was I really never knew his schedule. He would tell me his schedule, and that would always change.
It
hey,
changed.
Eric, I'm at the airport. I'm like, well, weren't you supposed to get him like what last week? Yeah, man, can you give me a ride? Yeah, sure. Like, what are you at the airport for? It's a long story. It was always something, man. But,
and they're always long stories because I give every boring detail.
Okay, so let's do this. This is a good time. Let's take it back. And again, it's a free-flowing thing, Freddie. I want you to carry this conversation the way you want it to be done. But my point is, let's take it back to the beginning.
Okay.
School. When did the music thing hit you?
Well, I got my first guitar when I was 16, and my parents got me a guitar, and it was I was depressed. I had this girlfriend that I really dug.
It wasn't a Gibson you got, right?
Well, no,
you weren't depressed over the guitar. You were depressed over a girl. Okay.
No, it was over a girl, and so they decided to get me. They got me a Les Paul copy. It was a Hondo. Actually, my first one was a Cortez SG copy, and it was just a hunk of junk. Look, now do I get to give a penny, take a penny?
No.
Okay. So it was a hunk of junk, and they find me. They get me a Hondo Les Paul, and I still have that guitar to this day. And
custom or standard? Because I had one too.
It was a standard.
Oh, I had the custom.
It was a standard. So I'm a standard guy.
I know you are.
I always was a standard guy.
Okay.
And so I had the standard, and I kind of learned how to play. And I had these two guys down the street, Tim and Jim, and plug the Tim and Jim Gallagher. Jim Gallagher works at the School of Music or School of Rock or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I thought we said shit was okay, but
is okay.
All right. There's a guitar pick in there too. It's just shit in my pocket. But they taught me how to play, and I really wanted to be a bass player. But I was like, no, you want to learn how to play guitar. So I learned how to play guitar.
Wait, you wanted to be a bass player from the beginning?
From the beginning, because you know why? Everybody played guitar. There was no bass players.
Well, so there was more openings at bass.
Oh, yeah. And then
I know you love Geddy Lee. That must have been your inspiration, right?
And we're gonna talk about this because somebody stuck a Rush sticker on my.
I came in and I saw that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Rush stickers on Freddie's gang box over here.
Oh my God.
Road box.
Oh.
Anyways.
I cringed. But so I learned how to play, and I joined bands, and I almost got signed. And
now, what age are we talking about here?
I was probably in my early 20s, 20, 21, and I we had a band and we played out and we were doing very successful. It was called No Big Deal. And then it was right out of high school.
I think I remember that.
And we did real well. And we wrote original songs where everybody else was playing covers. We were playing originals. And I loved it, you know. And I didn't have to play like anybody else. I played like me. And at this time, I was playing bass. And so I did really well. And then it just, you know, you get that taste. You get that taste of success of almost being there at the top of the mountain. And I wanted it. How I started, this is no joke. And I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, I saw Motley Crue's Looks That Kill video on MTV. And I remember my dad saying, look at these chicks. And I'm like, I think those are dudes. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. And literally I sat around and said, well, if these guys can do it, so can I, man. What the hell, you know? And my hair wasn't long then. I had I was in school, and I started growing my hair. And it would, like, get down to here. It would, like, really look crappy, you know?
Your parents okay with that?
Yeah, they were cool. I had the coolest mom and dad in the world, man. And they were cool with it, you know? And I figured if these fools can do it, well, I can too. And so I started playing more and more and more, and I learned, and I progressed. And with Tim and Jim teaching me, man, I learned a lot. And I think I developed my own style of playing. And I didn't sound like anybody else. I wasn't notey like everybody playing Geddy Lee stuff. And
the best player in the world. the best bass player in the world.
Other than Nikki Sixx.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Oh, man. But so I developed my own style, and I was self-taught. And we got good enough to get attention of Geffen Records. And
really?
Yeah. Everything was great. And I still remember it. It was
like 81 or something, 83?
No. This was in the 90s. And
wasn't metal taking a pounding then?
Metal was taking a pounding, but we were on the end of it.
Okay.
I still remember it. It was the day before the 4th of July. It was July 3rd. And this guy, I mean, through dumb luck, through dumb chance, I was able to get a tape to this guy who was in town that worked for Geffen Records. He was in town for a funeral or something. And there was traffic. I was late. I was like 3 hours late. And that's where it starts, that I'm always late for everything. If I tell you I'm going to be there at 6, around 9 o'clock, I'll be there. But
truth.
But that's just me. But so I show up and I get to this tape to him, and the guy listens to it, and he calls back, and he pretty much tells me, he says, look, listen to your tape, blah, 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 because it was back when cassettes were big. It really wasn't CDs yet. And he tells me all these things. He goes, well, your drummer goes out, one beat on the hi-hat, and it's, and this thing. And he goes down
the guy from Geffen.
And he goes, he says, we had a female singer, and Jen's an awesome singer, and she and I were dating, and he said, if you ditch the chick singer, he goes, we'll sign you. And no. That's just me. It's all of us or none of us, always. And that was been my whole thing. And I remember telling the guy, he really listened to our tape. He really liked the music. And he said, females have no place in progressive rock music, we sounded like Queensryche to me. And now it's all you hear. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We were on the forefront of all this stuff back in the day.
Right.
And I said, no. I said, it's all of us or none of us. I remember that guy. He said, have a good career, kid.
Wow.
Good luck.
Wow.
And that just pissed me off. And I'm not going to throw anything in there for saying piss on that one, because
piss is fine.
Piss is fine. And that just made me want to dig in and strive and do better, to actually go and keep going, because I was going to show people. And that's been the whole thing in my life. I'm going to show you. You know what I mean? Everybody that said I couldn't do something, and that's where...
That's your motivation. Though.
That's my motivation, is having people say, no, you'll never do it. I had people tell me that, when I was young, oh, you'll never make a movie. Even for my 21st birthday, I'm out there making movies. That's what I did. You know what I mean? I wasn't even 21. And
why do you think that is so much? Do you think it's, let me what I love about you, Fred, is you have traveled the world over and over again. But you love Pittsburgh. You know, you do. You know, whether it kills you sometimes, you absolutely love Pittsburgh. My point to you is, what is it about Pittsburgh, or maybe even the smaller towns? I don't say ethnic towns. I'm saying the working class towns, the old mill towns. What is it about the negativity that seems to permeate sometimes with parents or with quote unquote adults, and trying to, I guess, protectively suppress the dreams of the young? Why is that?
That's just,
am I right though?
That's what it is. Oh, you're absolutely right, and that's the whole thing. You know, I worked in a mill when I was young. I worked in a mill when I was for 4 years down here on Neville Island, and to get myself through college, and that's all these people ever knew. They only knew the mill, and that's it. That's the job. That's what's going to keep you going. That's what's going to keep your family.
Such a narrow mindset.
Well, but that's all they knew.
It wasn't intentional to hurt anybody. I know that.
It wasn't to hurt, but it was to protect the kid. It was, you know, my parents, they gave me free reign to do whatever I want. Yeah, you know, cool. And they supported me and my sister, and we could do whatever we wanted, you know, and you know, but that's exactly it.
So your motivation came from people telling you basically, you can't do that.
Others,
kid.
you can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I can. It's like, you know, I by this time I was starting to grow my hair in college, you know. And
where'd you go to school?
I went to Cal U, and I had a
party town.
That's
all I know about Cal.
Why I went
party town.
I could have went anywhere. I could have went to CMU, and you know,
I talk about that. Yeah, you could have.
And you know, I ended up going to Cal U because that's where my mom went.
Did you study European history or Russian history? What did you study?
I took Russian. I took Russian history.
Yeah, I remember that.
I took Russian language.
I found that was so fascinating.
I took Russian. And the thing was, you got to figure back then, it was still a communist country. And I'm like, I'm going to go to Russia one day. And everybody's like, dream on, kid. You know, it's a Russia.
And you have.
And I have. And I got off the plane in Russia, and this is no joke. I kissed the ground because that's where my family's from.
I bet.
And to me, it was awesome because someone told me I couldn't do it. And guess what? I did. And guess what? I really can't speak it that well, but I can read where I'm at and read where I'm going. It takes a second for the brain to think because I haven't done it in 20 years.
That's very cool.
But, you know, I knew that this was, you know, a place to eat. I knew this was way to the subway. I knew this was the stop that I needed to go to. And because somebody told me I couldn't go to Russia, you know what? I'm going to find a way to get to Russia.
So that was the motivation on music, though. Going back to your music.
Going back to music is you know.
But the band was all for all, one for all, and all for one.
And that's how I looked at it. And when that band broke up, you know, I mean, because all bands do. I mean, we had a good 4 or 5 year run, but everybody was graduating college or going to different things and getting jobs, and you know, and it happens. But I said no. I'm gonna keep going, and that's even how I became like a stagehand. Is I went and I went to school to be a director, and I was 23, and I was directing television commercials, and they made me cut off my hair, and it was only shoulder length to begin with, and I shit you not.
Pay up, pal.
I'm sitting in. I get my hair cut on a. Oh, there's another guitar pick in there. I get my.
I'm keeping this.
I get my hair cut on a Thursday. I start this job on a Monday, and I didn't look in a mirror until Monday. I didn't know what I looked like with my haircut, and I refused to look in a mirror. So
it was kind of traumatic to a degree.
Oh yeah, and I was mad. But you know what? I'm going to go out there and be the best damn director I can be. And I was directing television commercials at 23. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror with my little corporate cut. And I went,
I can't picture you like that.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I mean, I want photos. I want to see that.
And I
Are any photos exist from that era?
You know what? Well, here's the lucky part on my part. My house burned down and took them all with me. So you have to look at my high school yearbook if you can find it. But so I start directing, and I really liked it. And things were going on and on and on, and it wasn't making much money, but I was doing things that I like to do.
Well, let's talk about that. You directed for a while. I know that you've also produced for a while. So that's an interesting thing for me to wrap my head around, because I know you're very organized when you want to be. It's kind of like me.
When I want to be.
No, when we want to be. No, I mean that sincerely. But I just have a hard time picturing you directing people to go do stuff. I know you do it on the road, but I've never seen you do. You're always so laid back.
Well, that's the thing too. Is I think that that gives me. That's part of me. I'm laid back, and sometimes it's good. Sometimes people take advantage of it.
Sure.
And that's what was happening in this company, that, you know, I was doing this, but I hadn't become a stagehand yet. And I remember going into the weekly, or not the weekly, but the daily meeting, and everybody's sitting around talking about it. It was a Friday, and everybody's talking about what they're going to be doing. And I said, well, you know, tonight, you know, are we going to do this Christmas party, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you know, I've got this job, you know, I'm going to go to, for lack of, I can't even remember who the hell it was. It might have been Motley Crue. I'd say Motley Crue because the dirt's on, and I just watched it. So I said, and everybody's telling about what they're doing. I said, well, you know, I'm going to go work for Motley Crue tonight. And they're like, oh, you're going to go to the show? And I said, no, check it out. I'm going to go tear it down. And the guy goes, what? I said, I'm going to go tear it down. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, they hired me. They called me up and said, hey, do you want to come tear down the, you know, take the show? And so I work for this union. The guy goes, wait, you have another job? And I'm like, well, yeah. I said, yeah, it's a hobby. It's a job. The guy goes, he looks me dead in the eye in front of a boardroom, like with all these people.
Yeah.
And I got a picture, short hair, suit and tie. And I never lightened up. I wore a suit and tie every day. I wore a jacket and tie to work. And even when I was directing it, and I remember this woman saying to me, she goes, do you ever lighten up? And I'm like, no, I'm focused on.
I just can't picture that.
Focused on my work, focused on my business. And I remember this guy, he looked at me across the thing and he goes, I absolutely forbid you to have another job.
Your boss at
Yeah.
the one job,
And I said,
forbid you to have another job.
and I said, well, what's the? And this is with a group of people.
He said the word forbid.
Oh, forbid was the word. And I said, really? And he goes, I go, it's not a full-time job. He goes, what if I needed you here? And I said, then I'd be here, you know. And we adjourned for our morning meeting, and I had to go do some work, and I had to come from where I was at, out by West Mifflin. And I came home, and a piece of ice went where our old office was up by Froggy. A piece of ice came off a truck, shattered my grill in my car, through my radiator, and I'm stuck on the side of the road. And I tell this guy,
Wow.
Look, man, this is what happened. I'm 15 minutes from my house. I'm 45 minutes from work. I'm just going home. And the guy goes, no, you're not. He goes, I don't believe you. He goes, you're going to go and work for that other job. I need you to come back to the office. I'm like, look, man, I'm not going to make it back there. It's going to ruin my car. He goes, I need you to come back. So I limp back to the office, and I'm pissed off. It was in my hand, and I thought about it first, and and I went back in there, and the guy sits me down. He said, "Oh, we have a communication problem." He goes, "You're not understanding what I'm saying. I don't want you working another job." And he went in the whole thing about, what if I needed you? And I said, then I'd be here. And he goes, well, again, he said the word forbid. He goes, I absolutely forbid you to work elsewhere. And I looked at the clock. It was 3 o'clock on the wall. It's Friday. I said, well, I'm going to have to give you my notice. And he says, you're going to give me a 2-week notice, 2 weeks before Christmas? And I looked him dead in the eye and I said, I'm going to give you 2-hour notice 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm not coming in Monday. And I went and I packed up my office and threw everything in a box, and I devoted my life back into music.
Wow.
And
that was the apex. That was the life changer.
That was somebody telling me,
wow,
you can't do it. And I devoted my life back into music. I started playing more and more again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you don't tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. I was loyal to that company. I would have been loyal. But no, you don't. I did my best work. And you always get my best work. And just to have somebody tell me what I can and can't do, that was another point of somebody saying, just like somebody telling me you can't make movies, just like somebody telling me you can't make rock and roll. So it's like, and I just, you know what? I wasn't having fun at that point. But music made me, and so I started playing, and then I got aggressively good at playing.
That's where I want to go with this.
It
was music, though. It was music. It was because you know my story, and my story's not on trial tonight. It's you. But what I'm saying to you is that I so get that, man. Just having it slammed in your face or having you told that, negatively that you're never going to make anything out of yourself.
And I've heard it several times. I've heard it so many times. And it goes back to, again, I live in a no stoplight town. And that was it. You went to the mill.
For record, Fred lives in a southern suburb of Pittsburgh and grew up in a southern suburb.
Yeah, and it was a coal mining town. And, I had a dirt floor in my basement. You know what I mean? And we grew up poor, but we grew up happy. And my mom and dad always spoiled me. I mean, you have
wonderful parents. You had your mother's amazing, and your dad was a flippin' fantastic guy. I'm not paying because I said flippin', but I'm saying that part about your life to me, it's just because I know you. That's an amazing thing. And
they've raised me right. You know what I mean? And I tried to, my whole family, everybody's good in that family, and that was it. And I just kept striving, and they were there behind me to push me, and then when my second band was taken off, and we had concrete management was looking at us.
What's the name of that band?
It was called Voodoo Wagon.
That was Voodoo, okay.
And they had already had success beforehand with different players, and then they got a whole bunch of different players, like one original guy. And we went in. And
I remember the promo shot of that Fred, well, not Fred, but the band had out there. Fred had a very blousy kind of top on with like with the unbuttoned down to almost the navel with a little hairy chest going on there. Yeah, the pretty boy look. I remember that so well, buddy. That was on so many telephone poles, man. Oh my God, do I remember that?
It was there.
I couldn't let you bypass that because I remember well.
But I mean, that band did well too. And then, just one guy wanted to blow it, and they did. And
isn't that always a flipping case?
It just, it just sucks, because here's me pushing, and I'm an asshole because I'll sit there.
Are you not drinking fast enough or what?
I've you don't want me to finish drinking here. I've got drive. I knew where I had to be. I could see it in my head, and I knew what I wanted. And unfortunately, that's the problem with me and people is I believe in people, and I'll push you. And if I think you can do it, I'm going to pull you. I make things happen.
Not everybody's comfortable with that, though.
And that's what I found out later in life. That's the problem. Is people aren't comfortable with that because now I'm an asshole. I'm arrogant. No. How the hell did you get there?
No, you see potential in people sometimes, and you want to encourage them. But sometimes people, I think the human psyche is interesting. I love what motivates and demotivates people, Fred. And I will tell you, what you just said there, you having belief in somebody else from what you see, oftentimes we have to be careful because I do the same thing. I do the same thing in real estate, and I've always done it that way. It's you see something in someone and they don't buy into it.
They have that little spark.
I know, but they don't buy into it. Yep. And all of a sudden, you're the bad guy.
Yep. And you have to make them. You have to, and you try to make people believe in themselves. And I do it with everybody, and that's the problem.
Oh, I've seen you do it.
And it becomes my project. And then when I get, I have to see my project through.
And then you're ultimately at the end going, what the hell did I invest all that time in someone that didn't care about it as much as I did?
Why did I do this? And
we'll hit on that later about how you've helped people get into the business. And and we talked about the frustrations at times with that too.
Yep.
We'll get on that.
But they, but again, here was something else that, the door slammed on me. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I busted my butt to get here, and I'm going to let this asshole I'm going to let this guy over here.
Up, buddy.
You know what? Just throw 5 in there.
Nice. I like pepperoni.
We've got some surprises for you later, Larry.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
So,
of course, there was going to be a comedy element to this, of course. Right?
Yeah, it's me.
Friends, he walked in. Full disclosure, he walked into the studio today with 2 suitcases, and I wasn't permitted to look at them. So, who knows where this is going?
You know what? It depends on how much I drink. I quit drinking too. You know that I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any last.
So, yeah, a little true story, a little interlude here. I've heard this I've known Fred for a long time. And we probably consumed just a small amount of alcohol through the course of our friendship. You obviously way more than me. I've heard this phrase multiple times during the years of knowing Fred, and here it goes. You know, I quit drinking, Eric.
You're not drinking.
And we're sitting here today, and you know, here's the funny part about it: we have Guinness in front of us, which is, you know, we both obviously have liked Guinness over the years. We drank a few, Fred. And in honor of my new cultural folk here of the last 2 years, Mr. Johnny Rotten, we've got Red Stripe as well.
Red Stripe?
I'm just not sure how they're going to mix. Well, that'll be interesting.
Oh, believe me, you're hanging out with me. We're going to mix a lot of things. I'm a mixologist.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So, but I totally understand your point.
So I get all this tragedy, you know, coming in. And my buddy Nick, who was playing with Zakk, he calls up and, you know.
Zakk Wylde, Black Label
yeah.
Society, right.
And, you know, he says, hey, man, you know, you want to go out and audition for Zakk, blah, blah, blah. And we go and.
Okay, no, wait, hold on a second. So you get a call from your buddy who says, hey, you have an opportunity to go play. Excuse me. You have an opportunity to go. Now, was it an opportunity of music? Was it an opportunity to basically just get into the Black Label Society working as a roadie, as a guitar tech? What was the initial offer?
According to Nick, it was to play bass.
Oh, because they didn't have a bass player.
They didn't have a bass player. It was pre-JD.
So wait, hold on a second. So let me make sure I understand this correctly, because I want to make sure that I have the timeline correct. So this is Black Effin' Label Society, which I understand at that time was still not as established as it was.
It wasn't even established.
Okay, but it's still Zakk Wylde.
Mm-hmm.
Zakk Wylde, Ozzy Osbourne's long-time guitar player, the writer of songs such as "Mom, I'm Coming Home."
Yep,
the guy, in my opinion, and I love
all.
Yes, and I love Randy Rhoads' legacy. I love Jake E. Lee. I mean, what can Jake E. Lee? I mean, come on. But Zakk, in my opinion, made Ozzy the sound of Ozzy Osbourne solo. I mean, Zakk's footprint is that boot print is so heavy on that legacy. And were you intimidated by that?
Oh, was I intimidated?
Well, how'd that go? So you fly out to L.A.? How'd this work?
No, I didn't even. I never even left Pittsburgh.
You didn't believe the deal? What happened?
I believed the deal. And Nick said that, you know, hey man, you know, let's go get some press pictures. Zakk trusts me on finding somebody, and blah blah blah. We're gonna go do that, but you need to get some pictures done. So I went and got some pictures done, and I got tanked. And
before the pictures.
Well, that was the idea, you know.
So you looked pretty rock and roll.
We threw this party and this, that, and the other thing, and next thing you know, somebody's going to be a daddy.
Oh.
And
I didn't know that timeline.
Yeah, that's the timeline. And I gave up rock and roll dream to be a dad, and I just, you know, I wanted to be home for my kid, and you know, I wouldn't give it up again. You know what I mean? I you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be a dad.
Right.
And you know, I didn't even think twice. I didn't even think twice, because that's the kind of person I was. I mean, and
that's the person I know you to be.
And so I turned it down, and Nick goes off, and they do all these wonderful things, and Black Label still didn't have a real bass player or a real drummer, or I'm sorry, another.
They had Filthy Phil on drums.
They had Phil, but Phil at this time wasn't even playing drums yet. They played this Rock Around the Bay.
Really?
They played this Rock Around the Bay thing with Steve Vai and Motley Crue in Tokyo. And Nick,
I saw the video of that. That's when Zakk looked like Jimmy Page. No, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. So,
right? I mean, Zakk Wylde had a Jimi Hendrix look about him.
So
am I right?
So they had this. You're not going to get a comment.
Yeah, baby. The truth is what it is.
He had like the bowler, man. Like
bowler. Right. And I saw that video. And even at the time, Nick even looked like crazy.
So check this out.
Okay.
So Nick goes, hey, man, I can't get my guitar set up. Can you set up my guitar? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll do it. You know, I said, when do you need it? He goes, I need it tonight. I fly to Tokyo tomorrow. I'm like, no problem. So I'd work on his guitar. And I guess he flies over to, this is like a year afterwards or whatever.
Yeah. Is this like 96?
It's later than that.
97?
It's like, it's got to be like 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Right on.
Because that's when Black Label started.
98.
So that's when Black Label started. And he goes, hey, man, you know, thanks for doing this. I'm going to fly. So I guess the story goes, according to Nick, that Zakk played his guitar. and they're sitting around playing
Zakk
guitar.
played Nick's guitar.
Nick's guitar.
He grabbed Nick's guitar.
And he
played.
says, hey, man, who did your guitar? And he goes, my buddy did. He goes, fucking thing's awesome. He goes, oh, wait a second. I can't even talk about Zakk because I have to swear every time I talk like Zakk.
You have to say F him.
And so he said, you think your buddy will do mine?
Nice.
You know, do you want the how I met Zakk Wylde story?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, these are gonna be long.
Everything.
This is gonna be long. This is gonna be like a week long episode.
All night.
So check it out. So I'm told that Zakk, I think your buddy will do mine, and I'd gone on the Sally Jesse Raphael show.
wait. See, I'm learning things tonight, friends.
And I got a paternity test that said my kid was my kid.
Back up.
No,
Stop the effing camera. Is this on YouTube?
No, I've looked, actually, and it's not. I have the tape at the house, but it's not on YouTube.
You went on Sally Jesse Raphael.
All right. So here's the prequel to joining Black Label.
I might be paying into that swear jar here in a second because I can't believe this.
I thought you knew this.
No.
Oh man, that's why I said it's so nonchalant. So check it out. I work.
I can't believe this.
I work at Channel 4. I work on TE, and I have to do like these double shifts and shit like that.
On WTA
And
here in
WTA.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And I had a neighbor who told me, goes, hey, look, when you leave the house, some dude shows up when you leave.
Ouch.
And I'm like, really? And I said, yeah.
You weren't married at this.
I wasn't married.
Okay.
I wasn't married. And
I
and
know
actually,
who you're talking about.
and you know, so I said, all right. So one day I didn't go to work, and I got a newborn. I'm trying to do. So I had to double out every day, 16-hour shifts. So one day I didn't go to work, and we're sitting there, and we're arguing, and she's like, you should go to work. I'm like, I ain't going to work. She said, you go to work. I'm like, I ain't going to work. And
ouch.
We're channel surfing, and I'd never watched Sally Jesse Raphael. We're channel surfing on TV, and she's like, "You need to marry me." I'm like, "There's no fucking way I'm gonna marry you." And
wow,
I'm channel surfing. I look at her. I said, "There's no fucking way in hell that I'm gonna marry you." And the channel stops as I'm channel surfing, and I look at her. And it says, do you have a child and paternity is the issue? Do you want to get married but aren't sure? If so, call our show at Sally. Let me get a handful of change out right now.
You're going to need it.
Yeah, I'm going to need it. And
that's hysterical.
It's awesome. I get a handful of change.
That's crazy.
But so I say, call. And she's like, no, you call. And I said, no, you're the one who wants to get married. Call. So she calls, and she gets through on the first time. I say, hi, Sally Jesse Raphael, and she hangs up. And I look, and I say, chicken. Because what are the odds of even getting through? And she's like, you call. So I called, and I got an answering machine. I just hung up on it. And
so back to we need full dysfunction on display here. You're sitting there with your girlfriend, who is the mother of your kid.
Yeah.
You think. And you both are okay with like calling Sally Jesse Raphael.
Oh yeah, just so it's funny to me, Eric. Just so things are funny to me. Now here's the thing. Paternity wasn't. Paternity was an issue, and
you weren't sure.
Come on, no.
I don't know.
And I wanted to be sure.
Okay.
And so because I mean the kid looked just like me. I mean there's nothing And
right.
But
you weren't sure.
But my name's not on the birth certificate. All this happy shit because they don't do that in Pennsylvania. And I wasn't planning on staying for the long run anyway. And
true confessions from Fred Kowalo.
There were a lot of other things that I'm not going to talk about going on.
We have all night, Fred.
Had made me decide. Even a priest said, "No, don't do it." Even the priest came in and said it. But so check it out. So we're sitting there, and I want to get married, and I'm like, "There's no way in hell I'm going to marry you." And if so, call our show. So we call, we get through. I'm at Channel 4 on the afternoon shift
at WTA,
and they call me up and they say, "Hi, this is this is the Sally Jesse Raphael show. We'd love you to come on and tell the story. And I'm like, tell the story. She goes, but this is what we want.
Okay.
If the child's yours, we want to pay for your wedding and your honeymoon, and you get married on our show. And I told this girl on the phone, I said, look, I'm an actor. I've been an actor since 79. I work in television. I know good television. I will give you the best television show I've ever seen in your life. But there's no way in fucking motherfucking hell that I'm going to give two fucking shits and marry. Hang on a second.
You better.
And marry this fucking bitch on your show.
Ouch. Okay.
And,
okay.
Actually, I have no problem with her now. But
That's fine. That's good to know, Fred.
But that's what I told this woman. I said, I'll give you good TV. I could just drop the. So there's a bunch of change on the floor. But I told her, I said, look, I'll give you good TV. And so they fly us to New York.
Oh, you told the producer this, right?
Oh, yeah, I told the producer this.
Not your girlfriend.
No. She's just about to find out now if she ever watches this. So, you know, the funny thing is, find me a camera. Give me a camera. Look, if you think I'm going to say your name, if you're watching this and you saw this on our Instagram account, if you see me sitting there and you think I'm going to say your name on this podcast anybody,
this video book,
this is going to be anybody. I probably will, and you're going to be upset. So
there's a disclaimer.
Continue watching because you're probably going to hear your name somewhere on here, and it's life. It's my life.
It's Fred's show.
It says
this show is
damn
all
it!
about,
I'm taking over.
This is Fred's show.
I've got a pocket full of change. I got a bunch of beer. We've got some booze.
And what else is in there?
Oh my God! You don't even want to know.
And popcorn, I hear.
You can smell the popcorn popping. We're gonna have a good time.
Oh
but
my! This is good.
I will say your name, and so you all should be afraid. Be afraid. Be very.
Actually, you probably should warn a lot of people they should be afraid right now.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
it's not just it's everybody.
A lot of people.
This is blanket coverage.
Yeah, because we full disclaimer. We're not hiding anything. I've known Fred for a long time, and who has been the biggest proponent in your life suggesting that you write a book?
You
from day one.
I'm going to write that book.
Since 2005 or 6, right?
I wish I could. You know what? I need to copyright the thing on this, but I'm going to announce the title of my book because the picture's already taken for the cover of my book. And I'm going to tell you the name of it. And some asshole out there is going to take and steal my book name. But I was at my good friend Todd and Tessa Strange's wedding, and there was this sign, and it said. And I said, this is the title of my book. And I went and took a picture with the sign. It says, alcohol. Because no great story ever started with a salad.
That's right.
And so that's the title of my book.
Damn straight.
And that's what it's going to be.
Damn
alcohol.
Straight. Damn straight.
Because no great story ever started with a salad.
Damn straight.
So we go on Sally Jesse Raphael. And it's awesome. And when I say this... It's like WWE. It's the World Wrestling Federation in a studio. These people actually hit each other. And I'm not joking when I say this.
That really happens?
This really happens. And I'm not joking. They take us to get swabbed and stuff like that. They actually, it was awesome.
It's a real DO test.
Now
right?
you got to realize something, too. At this point, okay, and I'm going to say this. I wanted a DNA test. I wanted a paternity test, and I wanted to know that my child was my child.
Sure.
And I already knew she was.
Right.
But there were rumors.
You can't. It's obvious when you see her. Yeah.
There was rumors, and so we go and we get the swabs and stuff like that. And I had never flown on a plane before.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's
wait, all your life to that point,
I've never flown on a plane.
Really?
And
wow.
Okay. So I get this plane ticket, and I'm terrified. I'm afraid of flying, and that's if anybody knows on the inside knows about this, I'm terrified of flying. And I would always sit in the back of the plane. Why? Because when you see a plane crash, that's all you see is the tail. And I sat back there for years, not realizing it's great in first class.
No doubt.
And when I sat in first class, I'm like, I'm never going back to the tail of plane again. And to take off the story here, years later, I used to sit and tell Nick, as we were seatmates, we would sit beside each other, and I'd tell him every different way that the plane was going to go down that day.
He must
and he'd
have
be like,
loved
shut
that.
up.
He must have
and,
loved
and
that.
his white knuckles, he'd say, shut up, shut up, I hate you, shut up. And I'm like, we're going to go down. And one day we were flying, and we hit an air pocket, and we fell. And I'm sitting there looking at him. He's going, ah! And I'm going, like laughing my ass.
Mean.
Oh, dude. And he's like, and he never sat with me again.
Shit.
He would go to the airport early and book a seat other than with me.
I'm sure.
And so,
I would have too.
So let me go back to the Sally thing.
You're a Sally.
So
Did they give you any kind of, when you go on those shows, they prompt you? Do they?
No.
Do they?
No, it was like this show. I had free reign to say whatever the hell I wanted. And I did. And it was awesome because it's Fred. Mm-hmm. And what am I going to do? You know what?
Well, you're very truthful. You're always very truthful.
And I go on there. And,
painfully truthful.
And that's what always gets me in trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I go on the show, and I got Allison. I took her to I said your name. Mm-hmm. I said your name. And we went to the hairdresser, got her hair did,
Got her hair done.
Got her hair did, and got her a business suit, and all these other people.
A business suit for Sally Jesse.
So check it out. It's Fred. Just so it's funny to me. And so I go in a suit and tie.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm dead serious.
I'm searching this video out. It's got to be out
it
there.
exists.
I got it.
So check this out. Check this out. So we go on there, and there's like people in T-shirts, people, and here's us, suit and tie and business suit, woman's business suit, with our hairs did, and we look good. And these other people, like, they're two women fighting over two women fighting over some skinny dude who's like 90 pounds.
Yeah.
The women are like 350 each.
So do you think any of that shit is actually staged?
No. Oh, dude, I was there.
And look,
this is my testimony.
Look, look, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. So this is my testimony. It wasn't. Really? And I can tell you.
Yours wasn't, but I mean, were other people's? You think?
Well, maybe Springer and stuff like that.
They encourage that stuff.
I talked to people that have been on Springer, and they're like, for every blow you get, we'll give you $1.
What a load of shit. Honestly.
But on this show, these people were genuinely mad. And they were like trailer park hicks from Indiana or something like that. And I made the joke. The guy goes, "Well, I live in Bloomington." I'm like, "Do you know John Mellencamp?" He's like, I never forget
That's
it.
So wrong.
I never forget because I fuck with everybody. And the guy says, he goes, "Yes, sir. He lives about 3 farms away." And it's just like, this is the greatest thing in the world,
you can't make that up.
And I'm like, and it's me. Because I'm an obnoxious motherfucker,
right?
And so
He's sitting here, by the way, with coins in his hands.
I've got it in my hand. I've got a pocket full of change. I carry a pocket full of change. But so I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. So we get on the show.
You had to be excited, right?
Oh yeah.
You're obnoxious. I get it. You're like.
So these guys are.
Now, how is her demeanor? Is she okay with this? Like you're.
I'm gonna get married. When a kid, he goes. Guess what? It wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
Sorry. But so anyway, so we go on there, and I'm watching these like 350-pound women talk about this guy who's like
98 pounds.
He's like 98 pounds wet. And it turns out that Jimmy really did cheat on his wife with his old girlfriend. And
is this the show right before you?
This is us on the show. This is the couple before us.
Oh, set the stage. We're all on the stage.
We're all stayed together.
Oh,
and the next thing you know, this woman comes barreling out of the audience.
Of you as you're sitting there.
As we're sitting there,
out of the audience,
out of the audience, and she slugs Jimmy in the head. Or I'm sorry, I take that back. Slugs Jimmy's wife in the head.
The wife?
And they're fighting. There's 2 women fighting. In
front of you.
And I remember Jimmy looking at me. He goes, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Let him go, Jimmy. Just let him go." And dude, they're like duking it out on stage.
Wasn't there any security?
Oh, there was security. You're not going to stop a 350-pound woman who's pissed off that she finds out that,
oh my God.
You are the father. She was coming to kick somebody's ass. And it was amazing. And they got into a fight right there on the stage. I'm like, let them go. And I was enjoying it. Me, It's a good time. If I had a beer, which I probably did, a couple in the green room, and
wow.
But it was, to me, this is amazing.
Wow.
Because I'm back in the spotlight again. Because I hadn't had any. So anyway, so we're doing this shit, and I've got Jimmy Fun. So we go on there, and I tell my sad but true story of my daughter, and Sally Jesse Raphael goes to me. She goes, "My producers say that you're one of the nicest guys who's ever been on this show. How did you get into this mess?" I'm like, "Well, Sally, let me tell you."
Dude, tell Fred.
Dude, that audience was so hostile and so angry at Allison when she came out.
Oh, at her?
Because
usually they're mad against the guy.
Oh, yeah, they're booing her. They brought me out first.
Oh.
They're booing her. I'm like, wait a second. No. I said, don't boo her. She's the mother of my kid.
Well, that's not what they're used to seeing.
They're not used to seeing somebody up there in the
Somebody's basically a genuinely nice guy.
Genuinely, exactly. And so I tell my story, and Sally Jesse Raphael goes, "You, sir, are a saint." And she says it right on the air.
Really?
And dude, it was so awesome, And I am a saint. And we find out that, Jenna's mine, and
So you had a happy ending on that.
Everybody was I cried.
Wow.
I cried.
Oh,
Really? I literally cried.
Wow.
I was so happy that my child was my child.
But you knew it anyway.
I knew it anyway. But now I had that piece of paper.
Verification, right.
And then I came home.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen and I moved out. I took my kid and I moved out. Now here I am, a single dad.
Ooh.
And I get the offer to go on the road with Zakk Wylde. And I've got a child.
How'd that work out?
I had a good support group. Again, my mom.
Obviously, yeah. Your mom's the same.
And stuff like that. So, so along these things, it was tough. And I'll say these stupid things. I was going to a counselor who said, "Go ahead and go. Your child, you need to do it, blah, blah, blah."
Also, you had to support your kid, too.
Well, that's exactly it. Now I had the means and the money to support my kid.
Right.
And it was the greatest because I love my boss at Channel 4, Danny. Danny's like, I'm like, "Danny, I got 5 weeks of vacation. I just got called to do this tour." Well, I you know what? I'll jump back because that's jumping ahead of the show. So I get this call that says Zakk Wylde wants to meet you and fix his guitar. Okay. And so I go, "Well, what's the deal?" And they said, "We need you to come to WrestleMania." I'm like, "Dude, I don't have money for WrestleMania."
Wait a second, back up. So your first gig with Black Label is WrestleMania.
No, I haven't even met Zakk yet. So I haven't even met him. It's Zakk wants to meet you.
Show up at WrestleMania.
Show up at WrestleMania.
Oh, he's in the audience hanging out.
We're in the audience hanging out.
Okay.
And I don't have the money for WrestleMania.
Are we talking 98, 99?
99.
Okay.
Stone Cold Steve Austin wins the belt.
Yeah. I didn't watch wrestling, but I like that guy.
So check it out. You're going to get the long-ass stories. Is that okay with you?
We have 5.5 hours, Fred.
So you can make this like a mega 5-hour.
Look, so stop before we get too crazy here. Ultimately, that's what the beauty of this show is. This is long-form conversation, and I tip my hat to Joe Rogan for turning me on the idea of letting people have their own show. Dude, you have the open floor. It doesn't matter how long we go. This. You can't tell someone's life in 40 minutes or an hour.
No.
You can't do it, right?
Eventually, I'm going to run out of change.
Yeah, you are going to run. At your pace, you're going to run out of money. Which I got. I'll lend you some money. So go ahead.
So check it out. So I'm like, I say, "Look, man, I can't afford to go to WrestleMania."
Right.
And they're like, "No, dude, Zakk wants to meet you. Everything's covered." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." So we go to WrestleMania.
So you go there. Was the flight covered?
We drove to Philadelphia.
No, it was close.
It was close. It was Philadelphia.
The ticket was already paid for.
Everything's paid
the
for.
laminate, the whole thing.
Everything's good. Zakk's got it.
I believe that.
And so, and this is the beauty of Nick. He didn't drink.
Nick didn't drink, right?
But
right.
Phil Ondich, the drummer, he did.
Oh yes, he did.
And I don't even know these guys. So I show up to meet Zakk, and I just meet Phil.
Was it just Nick and Phil and Zakk at that time?
Yeah.
No bass player.
And so I drive out there, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this. Dude, it's covered. He just wants to meet you. So we show up, and Zakk, Nick, they hug. Zakk, Phil hugs, and they say, just watch out. It's going to take him a second to warm up to you. And this guy, we didn't have the beards yet. He comes up with his big dimpled chin.
Is this before Black Label?
This is before we did Rockstar.
Okay, so no, hear me out. I want to make sure I understand because we have a lot of rock and roll fans here.
Black Label is not
did
even
not exist. Zakk just had a solo band right now that Nick was in and Phil was in.
Yeah,
and that's it.
They had just done the Black Label record. It wasn't even out yet.
I get it.
Okay, it wasn't out.
Stronger Than Death. Or,
it was.
Okay.
It was Sonic Brew.
Sonic Brew. Okay.
So it wasn't even out yet, and so we go and. This guy gives me a big bear hug, and he goes, I've heard a lot about you, man. And it's just like, all right, cool. So I said to him, he gives me the grail, the beat-up bullseye. He's got it down in the
So for those who don't know, the bullseye is Zakk Wylde's signature Gibson Les Paul guitar. If you ever seen Zakk Wylde, he has a Les Paul with a black and white bullseye painted on the front.
Yep.
It's the one.
It's the grail. It's the holy grail of guitars.
Grail.
And he hands me this guitar
at WrestleMania.
He had it down in the hotel lobby of the Ritz-Carlton.
So you met them at the Ritz.
At the Ritz.
You're not in the stadium. You're not in the arena yet.
No. We had 3 days.
You met what?
3 days pre-party with Zakk Wylde.
So you met Zakk at the Ritz 3 days before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm surprised you guys made it to WrestleMania.
And this is how the story begins.
Okay.
Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with a salad.
Salute.
So I walk in. He's got the guitar. And he hands it to me. He goes. You think you could fucking make us play like fucking Nick's guitar?
That's 2, buddy.
And
that's 2.
There's no. And I'm like, yeah. I said I can do it right now. He goes, no, dude. Let me just get the change out now. I'm gonna have to cash in some bigger bills too. So he goes.
I have change.
He goes. I go, I can do it right now. He goes, no, dude, fuck that. He goes, there's this brew pub down the street. Just do it one later. He goes, let's go down to this Irish bar. They got a lunch special. So we get on a lunch special at the Irish pub, and we're down there from 11:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock. Come back at 5 o'clock. Get back and say, hey man, you want me to do that guitar now? He's like, oh, dude, fuck that. He goes, there's this German beer garden up the street. He goes, we got to go up for some dinner.
This is Zakk's drinking years.
Yeah, this is the drinking years.
Right.
And he goes, we're going up to this German brew pub up this for dinner. I'm like, all right, but you want me to? Dude, just do it tonight when we come back. 11 o'clock, we come back. 11:30. We're sitting in the Ritz-Carlton ballroom. Dude, we're gonna meet my buddy Jim Dotson here. Dotson's the bodyguard for The Rock and Steve Austin and stuff like that. We're hanging out, and we're getting tanked. And I remember this girl from the Coors, the manager for the Coors, the band The Coors. She was there, and this is no joke. One of the Coors was checking me out, like the girl from the Coors was checking me out, and we were sitting there talking, and it was pretty cool. It's just like I'm nobody, and so. The next thing I know is I hear Zakk say, dude, I want you to pick me up and gorilla press me above your fucking head and body slam me like they do on TV. And it's just like, no, dude, because, you're going to, he goes, I want you to body slam me. So he picks him up and Jim body slams Zakk onto the ground, but he hit the piano first. So Zakk's head bounces off the piano and he's laying there. And everybody else is like laughing. And I'm going, there goes my career.
He may be dead.
He's dead. Yeah. I never even got started. This is the story of my life. It's been nipped in the bud beforehand.
So he picks him up in a hotel lobby and body slams
Oh
him,
my
and
God!
His head bounces off the piano.
This is a reoccurring theme in the stories of Fred and Zakk. There's been more than one hotel we've been barred from. There's been more than one restaurant. Barred for life from places.
Right.
Recording studios, restaurants, landmarks, So, but this is the first, and I'm giggling, but I'm not giggling, and I'm going, because it was funny. Sorry, Rocker. It was funny. And Zakk's laying there, and we're like, oh, shit, he's dead. And Zakk comes through. He's had his head on the piano. He comes through. He goes, no. Dude, not fucking all the way like this. He goes, I want you to pick me up and press me above your head and then slam me. Because the gym only took him up this far. He wanted to, and he takes him, he body slams. He body slammed him onto the floor again. And
it's concrete.
Oh, yeah, it's the Ritz-Carlton, you know. We're going to throw some pillows down. And that's how my first day with Zakk Wylde went. And then it did it again the second day. Dude, you want me to fix that guitar? No, dude. There's this Irish-English pub up the street. It's got, you know, good breakfast. We'll go up there for lunch. So we go up there for brunch and stay till 5. All right, you ready? No, there's this American micro brew. It's these new things called micro brew.
Who was running his itinerary?
He was, and he always did for years.
Bolton was on the scene yet.
It was just us. This was the beginning, and so we just drank. We drank nonstop. We drank with Steve Austin. We drank. It went on and on and on. And it's like, dude, you want me to do the guitar? No, dude, we've got to go to this WrestleMania pre-party.
So 3 days you've been there.
3 days.
With the intent, you went there solely to do his guitar.
To do one guitar. And
which is 20 minutes, right?
For me, yeah.
10 minutes.
And but we keep saying, we're going to go. So we go and we hang out with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was great because we're sitting there. And I just remember sitting in this bar in Philly, and I have all these beers. And it's probably the same damn jacket that I have here. And I have holes all through this jacket. And we're going in, and I'm like, you know what? I've got a 6-pack. And I stuffed this 6-pack up the back of this hole in my jacket, and I've got beers stacked up my back, bottles of beer. And we go walking into this bar, and they open up my jacket, and they check my pockets. They frisk me up and down my legs, but they don't check the straight up and down of my back of my jacket.
My God.
And we go in there, and I've got a 6-pack already. And they're up waiting for beers. I'm like, what are you guys waiting for? They're like, where'd you get those? So I'm like, they're like, dude, I love you, you know. It's just, so we're sitting there drinking. But I remember this so much, and it was the first of many times that this happened. Zakk Wylde and I are sitting at the bar, and this woman comes up to me and she goes, do you know you look like Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player, Zakk Wylde?
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
no, to you?
To me. And he's sitting
you look like Zakk.
He's sitting right beside me. And I go, dude, this chick just said I look like Zakk Wylde. He goes, nah, dude, you look more like fucking Ozzy in like 1972. And that became
kind of do.
That became fucking Ozzy said it. That became a reoccurring theme of the things. So we were like sitting there giggling and laughing. So WrestleMania comes. And we're sitting there, we're ringside of WrestleMania, like the Big Pun and you know, Heavy D, Isaac Hayes is sitting there, like all these stars.
Isaac Hayes.
And we're like sitting there. But we were out the night before and we got tanked with Austin, you know, just drinking and having a great time, blah, blah, blah. And Austin wins the belt. And we're like tearing it up. We're ringside. We're 3 rows back ringside, just tearing shit up.
Right.
And I always laugh on the WrestleMania things when, you know, there's Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know, blah, blah, he wins the belt. You could see him look down and see like a bunch of idiots down there in the corner, and he's going, trying not to laugh. And we're throwing like Black Label shit at him. You
That's
know,
nice.
And we went to this after party with him, and it's no secret that I used to drink a lot. I don't drink very much anymore.
You've been very calm tonight.
So we're sitting there at this after party, the Undertaker's after party.
The Undertaker.
Zakk's walking around with a case of Sammy Adams.
A case?
Yeah, we just picked up a case. I have
crazy.
Austin has a case of Coors Light. Light.
Okay.
He's walking around with Coors Light. I have a case. Zakk has a case of Sammy Adams. I had of course, Nick didn't drink, and I have a bottle of Jack Daniels. I have a 5th of Jack Daniels.
Naturally.
And
could have had that tonight had you reminded me.
And the night's still young, Eric.
Yes, it is.
So we're sitting there, and Jack Daniels is mother's milk. And I sat there, and I got a bottle of Jack Daniels, and
wow. I've seen you drink Jack, I know. Trust me.
And Austin goes, damn, son, you can put away the Jack Daniels. And Zakk looks over and goes, dude, you want a fucking job?
So that's where you were actually, honestly approached about working with Black Label.
Yeah, and I never.
Now, did you know what the job was, or were you too hammered?
Oh, no. He knew I was there to tune guitars.
Okay.
And I never tuned that guitar for him until I went to L.A. He didn't know if I could do it or not. He knew I could drink. But
that was the positive part of the whole thing.
So that was it, and you know, and it became history. It was me and him. We had a blast.
So wait, we should understand this. So you went out there, met him for WrestleMania 3 days ahead of time. Never tuned his guitar. Was he playing on WrestleMania?
No. We were just hanging.
Well, why did he want his guitar tuned then? I don't get that.
Well, it was close because he's coming from the West Coast, and we were over here, and he figured it would be a nice time to to meet me.
He's from New Jersey, right?
Yeah, he would be a nice time to meet me to see if I'd fix his guitar.
Was he testing you?
No, I don't think it was a test. I just think he just legitimately wanted his guitar to play like Nick's. Wow. And that started a long 5.5 year adventure.
So let's make sure. So you get the gig. He offered you the gig on the spot. You go home, say, "I'm taking this gig."
Yep. And so, you know, I went to therapy.
Black Label Society.
I went to therapy to a therapist who said, "Yeah, go ahead and go.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's gonna be fine." You know. And so then I was able to provide for my daughter, and you know, blah 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 blah.
Oh, no, I get that. So 99, right? So 2000, you get on the road with him.
Oh, 99, we went on the road with him. That was when 99 Sonic
Stronger Than Death album?
Sonic Brew. And
okay.
So Sonic Brew comes out, and
you guys are playing clubs then, right?
Yeah, but the thing is I'd never been anywhere. Like, I took a plane trip earlier the year before to New York, some puddle jumper, you know.
Right.
We fly to Japan. Well, first of all, I fly to L.A. And
you've never really flown before,
I've never been anywhere, dude. I'm in my coal patch town. You know what I mean? I've never been anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we fly out to
crazy to me though.
I fly out to L.A. and we fly out at night, and all I know is I'm terrified to get on this plane. I'm going down. I'm white knuckling it, and you know, I'm sitting there in dread. Nick's like, "Shut up," and I don't know if anybody knows this out there, but I used to be a big drinker.
Yeah, we would never have guessed.
To get me on a plane.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that though.
To get me on a plane,
yeah,
I got trashed. But here's the golden egg of this thing. Here's the golden ticket. We had a friend that was a flight attendant who let us on early, and I got absolutely smashed on Jack Daniel's minis, and we got on
so you were okay.
This is pre 9/11. So I could take my toolbox on the plane.
Oh yeah,
I had a hammer, box cutters, saw. You know,
the good old days.
Yeah, knife, and they let me on. They let me pre-board before the pre-board, and so I sat in the back, and I got totally. It was like they brought the tray of mini bottles. And it's just like, oh, really? You know, it's just like, you know, you're playing chess with them. You know? So, and yeah, I had my fill of Jack Daniel's minis, and it was wonderful. And I passed out somewhere, you know, over Ohio, which if you're flying from Pittsburgh to L.A.,
real quick,
Ohio's like, nah,
real quick,
5 minutes. And I wake up in L.A., and I'd never been to L.A., and it was nighttime, and I just remember driving up the 405.
You were driving?
Well, I wasn't driving. Right. Somebody else was driving us. And I was disappointed because I couldn't see the Hollywood sign. But I could, it was dark, but I could see things, you know what I mean? And just like, you know, and I saw the sign for Sunset Strip, you know, and you know, and I saw or for Sunset Boulevard, and, you know, and I saw Ventura, and I'm thinking, I've heard about these places, but I never really seen them. And we went up north, about an hour north of L.A. was where Zakk lives, and
Castaic,
yeah. And well, no, at that time it was Valencia. There was nothing in Valencia then. Now it's a big, you know, it's all built up, but there was nothing in Valencia. And I remember I woke up the next day we slept in his kids' room, and I just remember these kids going.
I'm banging you on the forehead.
And I like woke up, and I just met the guy. I mean, I'm sleeping in somebody's stranger's house, you know, and the kids are like, he sleeps a long time. And they're like,
about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like in their bed, you know.
Oh my god!
And
only kids, right?
And I got
only
up
kids.
and I went walking around,
Wow.
and I saw California for the first time, and I remember my thought.
Wow.
Pack my kid, pack my shit. I'm coming out here.
Oh, to live.
Because it was
Really?
it was green then too, you know. I mean, they just had some rains.
Sure.
It's not like that anymore. But you know, and I totally dug the experience, and I really embraced it. And we got up, and I said, "Hey, man, you be ready to go?" He goes, "Oh, dude, yeah, we're going to head down to Wolf Creek. It's a microbrewery."
There's a theme here with him, right?
There's a theme
back then.
And so we went, but it started a wonderful relationship with the guy. I love him to death. Like literally, I can't say enough good things about him. He's a genuine soul. He gave me my start. Nick gave me my start. I totally enjoyed.
So okay, so this is important for me. This is the one story I definitely want to make sure we get in there tonight because, I'm sure you can discuss it, but to me it was the funniest thing because you and I connected in 2003, so you had all this stuff under your belt. There was a period of time, and Black Label Society, correct me if I'm wrong, started to really build a following.
Oh yeah.
And it was a biker image, but it was really about Zakk's playing, I think. And it was almost like it was anti everything that was cool back then, right?
Oh,
It was almost like we're a band of rebels. And
the big thing was Britney Spears and the Goo Goo Dolls.
Well,
you know?
Right. So my point was, you had this almost like this cult-like following. And right before I met you, I think you had just come off the road from, wasn't it supposed to be like 13 days of hell?
Oh, 13 days of grief.
Of grief. So correct me now. If I'm wrong factually, correct me. But you're on this tour, and it was supposed to end somewhere around Pittsburgh, Baltimore, or somewhere. And you were getting ready to go home. And I think Barb or Zakk's management told you guys, hey, you know what? We're going to extend the tour just a little bit further. And on the last day, we're going to record a long-form video that we're going to sell.
We ended in Dallas.
Am I remember that correctly?
Dallas to Clinton, Iowa.
Well,
was the first thing.
Tell you,
we ended at Harpo's in Detroit.
Okay, so as a rock and roll fan that I am, you introduced me to what was the hard rock of the 2000s, which was much harder than I remember. But that video, Broken, Bruised, and something?
Bruised, bruised, and broken boned.
Yes, I love that. My son, my little tiny son, actually can remember hearing all those songs as he grew up at Boogie Street. And Uncle Freddie plays that stuff. I'm like, right, so Austin remembers that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the point was, ultimately, there's a story that I was told I would love for you to talk about from the time that you were told, guess what, guys, the tour is not quite over yet. And you're going to go to Detroit where on your last day, the last day of the tour, which is obviously not a utopian time to film a band, we're going to film that show.
Yeah. And
we're going to sell it. So take us there, Fred, as only you can.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Is my memory correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And they dropped us off in Dallas. The last Ozfest show was in Dallas. And we're supposed to get a trailer for the gear. And now you got to remember.
In Dallas, Texas.
In Dallas, Texas. All the shit that Zakk has is...
shit's okay.
It's all in individual cases. We didn't have vaults. We had Zakk Wylde road cases, which
That's
were...
it.
Yeah, it was just...
Shoestring budget? Or was
No,
I'm not trying to get anybody. No, I'm just saying, you guys...
biting my tongue.
You guys, listen, Zakk as Ozzy was a big production.
Yeah.
Zakk individually was growing his band, right? So
yeah, we couldn't even afford hotel rooms for 13 days. 13 shows, 13 days in the summertime. First show starts off with, we need a trailer. And nobody has the brains or foresight to get a trailer. So we have to go to U-Haul to get a trailer and have a trailer delivered to us. And
how big of a trailer?
Well, a trailer big enough to hold all the gear.
All the gear.
And when they brought us that dirt bike motorcycle trailer, and we put the gear in the trailer
in Dallas,
and all the tires flattened and blew out from all the individual heavy cases in the thing.
Wow.
We knew we were screwed. I almost said fucked, but
now you did.
So we knew we were getting into, and that's how it started. And so we ended up getting a Penske truck and driving this Penske truck around. The debauchery.
Straight truck, right?
Yeah, it was like it was just
the long ones.
It was it didn't have to be big. It was like mid-sized. But guess who never drove a truck before?
You.
Me. And
automatic transmission. How hard could it be?
It's too big for me.
But you're driving it cross country.
Yeah. So we I had some great Robert Trujillo drove with me. Tim Bolin drove with me.
Now Robert who's currently the bassist in Metallica.
Yeah,
was once the bassist in Black Label.
Label, and he was a bassist in Ozzy.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I mean, we all had he was a bass player in Suicidal Tendencies, which
that's where I first learned of him.
Oh, he's awesome.
I love the what was it called? The Infectious Grooves.
He was Infectious Grooves.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So
Mike Murr was in a band or something.
So we had
weird memories coming back, Fred.
Mike's awesome.
Yeah, weird memories coming back.
Roz he's the bass player now, and they're awesome. These guys are all friends of mine.
Right.
And I just think it's funny that because I listened to him as a kid, and just now I know him.
Yeah, different.
And so they we went across, and we had many. There's a reason why it's called Booze, Bruised, and Broken Boned.
That's the name of the DVD.
And literally, we went into Harpo's.
In Detroit.
They drank.
So hold on. So wait a second. Hold on. You made it through those last 13 days.
Oh, which was terrible.
And you weren't supposed to do that because the tour was supposed to end.
Yeah, the tour was supposed to end in
Dallas.
Dallas.
You're going home. You're feeling good.
Yep. And guess
I know
what?
I had conversations with Nick, and he was horrified because he wanted to be home.
Yeah. And guess what, guys? 13 more days. And you know what? 13 days just doesn't sound like a long time. 13 days on the road after you've been beat for a month and a half.
So I heard something. Now, I never vetted this out with you, but I heard Zakk kind of had like a team meeting, a group hug there, like when you were informed of this. And I was told that there was going to be the 13-day jaunt or 15-day jaunt over 13 shows was going to be Black Label. And I was told that you were informed that there was no bathing till Detroit.
Pretty much, yeah. No.
Am I right?
I digress.
Okay.
There was no hotels.
What?
We didn't get a hotel.
What do you mean you didn't get a hotel?
No, we were 13 days straight of touring.
Sleeping in the vehicles?
Sleeping in the bus, yeah. So, and I drove the truck at night, so I worked all flipping day and drove the truck at night. Tim and I did shifts.
You and Tim Bolton.
Oh, my God. Here's a guy. I don't know if you guys know this. Hang on.
I like Tim.
Hang on. Take this off.
I like Tim. Oh, here we go.
Do you know what this looks like when you don't bathe?
Yeah, leave it down, dude. Put the headphones back on. Leave it down. Leave it down, man. That's a real Freddy, I know.
All right, so here we go. So, yeah, this doesn't look very well when you don't bathe. Me, I bathe.
That must have drove you nuts because you're very fastidious.
Oh my God!
That must have drove you crazy.
So yeah, it drove me nuts, and but I kind of embraced it. You know what I mean?
Nick didn't.
No, Nick did. But so here I am with 13 days of dirt on me.
Right.
And it was fun. It was different. It was like camping, only worse. But
much worse.
So, but we got through it. We had a great time. We get to this Harpo's in Detroit, and we drank. The crowd drank the entire bar.
I heard that.
Out of booze, like there was nothing left.
Think about that. The crowd drank the bar dry.
And they were stocked for. They were over. They drank the bar dry. There was nothing to drink. And that was the glory of it. But there are pictures of me that were floating around where I was protesting not taking a shower on the 13th day. And I'm just laying there on the amps going, nope, because I had no place to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I had to get ready, and they wanted me, couldn't even take a nap. I just drove the gear truck in, and they're like, well, you need to set up. We got to get this camera placement and stuff like that. And there's like pictures of me in my silent protesting beard, like laying on the amps, It's,
how'd that work? So you guys arrived there at the 13th day, the 13th day of death on the road, pretty much. And they hired. Did the record company hire a local video company?
No, it was. They had a professional
Eagle something. Eagle Rock production.
It was on Spitfire, and they hired a video company to come in and did, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
They had crane shots. They did everything. The crowd was amazing.
But you guys, that is an awesome video.
Oh, it's killer.
I even like that better than the one that came out, 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
That one's awesome.
Yeah, the Eagle Rock one was great, and
but there's a story about something called Condiment Ball.
So
let's get there. Fred.
Wow,
I got a good memory, buddy.
I've got a lot of video.
Well, Condiment Ball.
Condiment Ball. So prior to this, we used to amuse ourselves by playing baseball with a baseball bat that Mike Piazza, love you, Mike.
Yes.
Gave us.
Because Zakk and him were tight.
Yeah, Zakk and him were tight. Mike would come out to the shows. He'd play Black Label. When he'd come up to bat, he'd be like, dun-dun-dun-dun.
You introduced me to him one time at a Black Label show, and I'll never forget that because I'm a huge baseball fan. That was a big thing for me. Yeah, Mike Piazza.
So Piazza, he gave us a bat.
Yeah.
And, it's awesome. He's got, he gave me a hat. He autographed a hat for me.
Good guy.
And he was awesome. And then he gave Zakk a bat. And you don't want to give Zakk a bat for anything.
He's the last person that should have a baseball bat.
Should have a baseball bat.
Right.
And
well, back then, anyways.
So we went to this one club in Connecticut.
Wait, Condiment Ball was not at Detroit.
No. Condiment Ball somewhere else.
Condiment
Ball might have been on that tour.
The Ram in Baltimore?
No, it was in Connecticut.
Okay.
And some club owner tried to stiff us on our food.
He wouldn't feed you.
He wouldn't feed us.
Right.
And so a lot of going on.
Help me understand so the audience understands. You drive into location. You're playing either that night or the next morning.
That night,
and you get in early. So obviously you guys got to eat.
So
as a courtesy, generally,
you get food afterwards. And the guy stiffed us on dinner. He skipped us, and he didn't give us anything. So
you played the gig.
We played the gig, and we have no food.
No hospitality.
No
tables,
hospitality. No nothing. And so here it is. We got to drive off the main or whatever. I think that's
he wants you off the property too.
He wants us off the property. So we said, screw it. Went and bought a bunch of food, hamburgers, and that's where
at a convenience mart, I heard.
And so we're making it's Black Label. We cooked on the grill all the time,
because you guys carried a grill with you.
Yeah, this is where the grill comes from.
Not only is the stray truck carrying all the equipment, amps, guitars, mic stands, mics, drums. There's also a barbecue grill there too.
The barbecue came. All these things are all it all evolved. So out of Condiment Ball. So we're sitting there, and the guy stiffs us
on the food.
So Zakk says, "You know what, dude? Let's get fucking."
There we go.
I get more. So, dude, fuck this fucking shit. Go down. We'll buy some fucking.
Zakk, I remember.
Buy some hamburgers, some fucking buns, some dogs.
Right.
And get some.
I was told it was a convenience mart, literally right around. It was a very sketchy area of Connecticut. I was told.
It probably was, but the thing is,
you're running out of change, buddy.
I got a 20. I'll buy it back.
I got some ones over here, Rook.
All right, so we go and he buys all this stuff, and we're mad. We're sitting outside, and I've got to get some sleep. You know what I mean? I got to get some sleep in me. And Zakk doesn't know this part of the story. He probably hear it afterwards, but he doesn't know the end of it. But so he gets pissed off, and he takes Piazza's bat, and he smacks a thing of mustard into the back door of this thing. He hits it with the bat.
So wait, no, I heard something a little different than that, so I want to make sure my memory is clear. I was told that when you guys bring this big bus in, the bus is lowered, right, by the driver or something when you guys park at a location or something.
Yeah, just.
I was told that Zakk instructed the bus to be parked parallel to the building or something.
Nah, I think it was parked parallel on
Anyways,
purpose.
okay.
So people can get through.
Okay.
So
Fair enough. I just want to make sure the facts are right.
Okay. So, so we're sitting there, and we're back in the, but it was parked close to the building.
Well,
and
like 30 feet? What?
Well, like right there by the building, by the door.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's right by the back door, so you can get in and out. And next thing you know, the mustard's getting hit.
With the baseball bat.
With the baseball bat. You can fuck that guy.
That's a little weird.
Well, he's hitting it at the door,
At the door of the building.
And then, because we ate, and all this stuff's left over.
Which he wouldn't feed you.
Yeah. And then the mayonnaise got hit. And then the funniest video ever came up with me doing a shooting from the bus window. And it became a full-on baseball game.
Because he loves baseball.
Yeah.
Zakk loves baseball.
He loves
so
baseball.
Him and I bond. Zakk and I bond over baseball.
It became a full-on baseball game with multiple runs to the store to buy more condiments, to buy more soda, to buy more crap to hit and just smash all over the back of this club.
Wow.
And it lasted all night into all morning. So the time that I'm supposed to be sleeping to drive this truck.
There was gallons of milk.
Oh, there was gallons of milk.
I heard there was gallons of orange juice.
Dude, there was orange juice, milk, mustard, you name it. It was hours of just brutal assault
on the side of the building
of condiments. Now, you got to realize something. This goes on. And it was great because Nick, actually, who hasn't been, I think the quote in the video is, Nick hasn't been dirty since he was a 3-year-old child in a sandbox.
He's very fastidious.
He's very clean.
Right.
And he actually got up and he hit something, and I think he got splattered with a bunch of mayonnaise or something like that. And but everybody was covered in whatever you hit.
And you guys have not bathed.
And we haven't bathed
in 13 days, I heard, right?
And so, well, this is on the way to.
Yeah.
And
how ripe was that bus?
Oh, it stunk. Stunk.
But you drove in a straight truck. You and Bolin,
yeah,
right?
Oh, there was
Bolin, right?
There was a long line of people wanting in that truck, and I'm like, no, I'll drive it. But
wow.
So yeah, so the condiments. But what was great was in the morning when everybody woke up, the bus driver got there. The poor buses were covered, and these bus drivers they take meticulous care.
Yeah.
Covered because it was all splattered all over their buses. It wasn't very good. So I actually think it's Tim's turn to drive the truck. This is the part that Zakk doesn't know. And Tim thinks it's my day to drive the truck.
Okay.
And we both go to sleep on the bus. I wake up in Maine. Tim wakes up in Maine.
Maine.
And
the state, Maine.
And we say, would you drive the truck? No, man, I thought you were driving the truck. No, man, it's your day to drive the truck. Man, it's your day to drive the truck.
Maine.
We left the truck at the club.
Ooh, with all the gear.
With all the gear. So they had to drive back and get the
ouch.
And get said truck. Tim went back and got it. But you got to tell Zakk, oh, dude, well, the truck broke down and Tim's on his way.
It's all bullshit.
Oh yeah. There was we had a few times like that, but Zakk was always awesome, man, and it was always a great time. We eventually finished up, and
that was a good time in your life.
You know what? Right? It was a great time in our life because you know what it was? Is everybody's like, oh, you're out there being raised in hell and being an asshole. No, it was rock and roll. Mm-hmm. It was fun. Mm-hmm. We had a blast.
Slightly violent, but also good.
No, it wasn't violent. It was only violent to mustard and ketchup and mayonnaise.
Wow.
But
I heard a story too. One time you guys actually went to You heading off there or something, and you're way out in like Idaho or Montana or something. You're driving through the state. No, but there was actually a real.
When you say that, there's a lot of stories. So I'm waiting to hear which one.
No. I heard there was a story which was actually kind of cool because my child and my journey with my kid in baseball, how much we both love baseball. But there was a story that I was told where you guys actually saw a group of young kids playing baseball, and you pulled up, and basically they were terrified of you guys. But then you actually said, you know what, we just want to play baseball with you. And you guys are out there running around. With these young kids playing baseball in boots and vests and jeans. Am I right?
No,
is that right or wrong?
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. I heard the good side of the story. What actually really happened, Fred?
Oh my God, I got it on video. It's called, in the video I entitled "At Play in the Field of the Lord."
Oh! See, I'm bummed out now. I thought it was a good time story. Now the reality is going to happen. Let's hear it.
So, all right, check it out. All right, let me get some change out.
Otherwise, here we go.
All right, at play at the field of the Lord, and this is
at play at the field of the Lord. Okay.
So wherever we went, we took this said baseball bat, and
it's the Mike Piazza bat.
It's the Piazza bat,
right.
And Zakk went off and bought a whole shitload of softballs to. So if we wanted to play baseball, we played baseball, and that meant if we went to a mall parking lot and hit home run derby against the walls of the mall.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we did. If we wanted to stop and play baseball, we played baseball.
But you guys found a field this time, right?
And we found a field in Montana.
See, I told
Montana,
you. I had it right.
On our way to the gorge in Washington.
Okay.
And we pull up and we play in this.
Was the field empty when you pulled up?
The field was empty when we pulled up.
Okay.
And the idea was,
this is hysterical.
We're playing baseball and shit like that, and it's great. And this church van pulls up. And this people get out, and we're out there. And now you got pictures. We're on Ozfest in our leather vests, in our boots.
We're on tour with Ozfest.
We're on tour with Ozfest in our boots, in our leather vests, and we played like that. And it's 98 degrees in Montana.
You guys were in jeans.
We're in jeans,
leather vests, and work boots. Generally,
yeah.
This is Black Label.
It's Black Label. You don't, and we're playing baseball. And and I have this on video, and it's one of the funniest things ever. This church group comes up. We're playing on a church field
in Montana.
And they come up and they go, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And Zack's like, "Oh, dude, we're fucking sitting here, we're out on tour with the fucking Ozfest, and we're fucking doing out there, just busting off some steam, fucking smacking some fucking balls around, dude. Fucking, fucking playing some fucking home run derby. You got the fucking guys out there, fucking, just take it." And
you don't have enough money left.
Yeah. And this lady goes, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Dude, we're out here fucking busting our fucking balls on this fucking baseball fucking field, fucking out here. We're out there on the fucking Ozfest fucking touring and shit. I'm out here fucking busting my balls, doing double duty with like Black Label and fucking Ozzy Osbourne and shit like that."
He's playing 2 gigs then, though.
Yeah. And so we're out here just, trying to relax. She goes, "What do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I play fucking guitar for Ozzy Osbourne." And they look and they go, "Get off our field right now." And he goes, "Oh, no, we're, it's all cool. We're just out here trying to, get off our field right now. We're going to call it."
That's great.
And so fucking he goes, "Let me get a handful."
You're in need more than a handful. You're quoting Zakk Wylde.
They go, "Jesus would not want you to play baseball on our field." He goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "Motherfucking Jesus invented fucking baseball. Dude, don't tell me I'm not down with JC. I got a 6-foot fucking crucifix of Jesus fucking Christ fucking hanging above my fucking... Don't tell me I'm not down with JC. We're calling the cops."
I'm down with JC.
Jesus invented baseball.
Oh my God. I remember that's the story I remember too. And that was just,
Jesus invented baseball.
If that isn't rock and roll, I don't know what
Dude,
it
it's
is.
awesome. And he was so mad about that forever. He was so mad. Like, "Rocker, let it go." Can you believe it? So we went to some other place where they had like a baseball field next to a NASCAR track. Nick goes off to watch NASCAR. Where the fuck's he going? He's going to watch NASCAR.
Yeah.
we played till dark, and by this time we were so drunk that the only way we were leaving is if Zakk hit one over the fence.
Okay.
But he couldn't because we were drunk. Everybody
Right.
was drunk.
Right,
You know?
right.
I've got all this on video. And they would come like, it's like getting dark. It's dusk. You can't tell if it's going over the field or not.
He's not hitting a home run.
No, he's not hitting a home run, but you can't see where the ball lands. It's like, oh, it went over. And it's like, no, it didn't. Yeah, it's like,
Oh, my
so
God,
he
dude.
knows it's not. But, so eventually we got out of there. We played the gig, but there's just so many good stories of it,
I mean, well,
And I have a lot of the, like I said, at Play at the Field of the Lord, Condiment Ball, I have one on videotape. I've got stuff from I archived everything.
I know.
And it just
The book will be written.
The book will be written. So you're getting a lot of the stories for the book.
It's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, there's a lot more.
All right, so check us out. Ready? It's good stuff, man. For the audio podcast.
Well, the thing is, Eric, I'm not a beer drinker.
I know you're not, but you are tonight.
No, hang on a second. I brought a little something.
You did.
Little something, something.
Oh no! I'm worried.
Oh, fuck.
What the hell is that?
So I always
That looks like a tour bag.
I always come prepared. Yeah. So I didn't know what to wear, so I brought a couple different shirts.
Thermal underwear.
Yeah, that's my thing. A variety of black shirts.
That's normal.
But these always
Black sweatshirts.
you know.
A Boogie Street sweatshirt. A Furby. I see.
well, it's padding for what I got in here.
A Furby.
It's my angry koala. It's my angry
koala bear. Okay.
yeah, see, it's angry.
Oh,
It's-
he has.
yeah.
There's like fangs there.
Oh yeah. My dog's terrified of it. But this is just like shit to. So I got a.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jaeger.
It's me. So we've got this.
Ooh.
I've got.
That's after my heart there. Yeah.
All right, so
You have no coffee though.
it's all right. I got some absinthe if we really want to get twisted. And that's the real shit there,
Yeah.
This little
Could-
thing.
those who know you though, I mean, this is to be expected, right?
Yeah. Another black T-shirt, Bizarre Guitar.
Yeah.
Want to plug those guys, Greg and Shanna. Oh, I didn't know if we needed another one, so
What the hell is that?
it's another bottle of Jaeger.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You worry about Jack Daniels.
Oh.
Most of that's,
I knew that was going to be.
That's earlier tonight,
That I might partake in. Man.
All right, that's good. That's good.
That I might partake in. What else you got in there?
Got some.
Oh, that's what I want.
Tito's.
That's what I want. Okay.
And that's about it. Another black T-shirt, because you could never have enough black T-shirts.
You know what? So you've been phenomenal at this point. Probably spot on and civilized. Okay, so I will indulge you. Okay, here. Tito's.
The Tito's?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Because I'll tell you why I wanted this Tito's here. Because we're going to enter in probably the most somber part of this discussion. I'm going to drive you away from the fun part for a second. I'm probably going to get you a little bit emotional, but it's important though. And I'll tell you why. Here, this is yours. This is yours. Oh boy, this is going to be hard. Part of the legacy of our friendship and part of the legacy of what I know you have done in rock and roll took a very, very dark turn in 2014. And just, life is so strange because you were working with me at Boogie Street, and we had the opportunity for a very short period of time to work with Dimebag Darrell.
2004.
With Damage Plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was for those who don't know, Dimebag Darrell, kind of a funny name, but I mean that was actually his name. He was the guitar player for a band called Pantera, which was a very, very. I appreciate the comedy.
It was in the bag.
He'll sit up there good.
It was in the bag.
The koala, the koala bear is now. Well, you get him perched, okay. But Dimebag was probably, along with Zakk Wylde, the finest quote unquote hard rock / heavy metal guitarist of his generation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Dimebag played for a band called Pantera, which was, truth be told, was off my radar to a degree. I knew who they were, but it wasn't my style of rock and roll. I mean, I'm a little older than Fred, and I kind of really was smacked in the face in the 70s with that kind of rock. and I adapted, and I was very open-minded, but Black Label was hard for me. Remember, like Black Label was almost an acquired taste for me, but the tube tone and all that good stuff, I kind of liked it. Pantera, on the other hand, was even a little more abrasive for me. So it wasn't like I really bought into the whole thing. But what I did buy into was Damage Plan, because it was a little backed off from Pantera. This was Dimebag.
Yeah.
Dimebag had this band with Pat Lackman, Bob Zilla on bass, and his brother Vinny on drummer. So Dimebag had moved from Pantera to this other project, and that's where he kind of came into my life for a very short period of time. We started working with Washburn Guitars, and I knew of Dimebag. I knew of this virtuosity. I was a reader of Guitar World and all the guitar magazines. I was in the business. And the guy was having some, whether it was financial, whether it was emotional, whether it was business-related issues with Washburn Guitars, they were going to separate. What we had at Boogie Street, because we were coming in late on the game, we had the opportunity to do some very limited guitars while his contract was still there. He gave us the blessing to do it. Kind as can be. And again, not music that I really was exposed to. It was a bit much for me, but couldn't be a nicer, more generous, more giving kind of guy. So we commissioned these guitars, and Fred was a big part of it. We did a guitar called the Southern Cross with Washburn. They had already designed that with Dime. It wasn't we really didn't have much to do with that, but we bought them all, right?
Everyone.
And then you and I sat down one night, and he said, "Look, one of the guitar painters at Washburn made a special paint job, and you and I had dinner per Manny's. I'll never forget this. And you said, dude, you should call that the Boogie Bolt." To kind of like represent Boogie Street, and the Boogie Bolt was born.
Yeah, we did it with abalone.
Yeah, we did it with like really high-end stuff, and so we commissioned those with Washburn, and Dime had already taken off for another guitar company, Dean Guitars, and there was no animosity or anything. I was disappointed because I felt like I came in too late in the game, and you and I, unfortunately, I honestly believe this, Fred, had you and I arrived a year earlier and started really championing his guitars, he might have stayed at Washburn.
Yeah.
From a financial standpoint. But it wasn't meant to be. Couldn't have been more kind to all of us. But me, I really didn't know him on a personal level, just the kindness he gave me to give me the permission to make guitars for that 6-month period while he was transitioning. But you knew him. You knew Dimebag from your years of touring with Black Label, because Dimebag Darrell and Zakk Wylde, these two heavy metal icons, formed a really unique friendship. And I know that I see all the photos, and I know the history there. So I know it's tough for you to talk about, but, let's do it. Let's really vet out that, because, you and I have probably never had the heart-to-heart, and we're going to do it tonight. And, before Boogie Street, tell me and bring me up to date on how you met Dime. Talk about the Zakk relationship with him a little bit, how he loved Black Label, and just the brotherhood that was there.
We did the show.
First off, to Dime, shoot. To Dime, buddy.
To Dime.
Salute. It's good stuff.
It's Tito's.
It is. It's a clean vodka. No, but I appreciate you wanting to talk about this, because I know it's very hard for you.
It actually starts out pretty funny. We were in Tokyo. And
give me a year. 2002, 2001. Hard to remember?
It's all blur. Probably 2000.
Pantera was out in 99 with Black Sabbath. They were opening for Sabbath.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this is
after that.
It's probably 2000. Probably did Rockstar, and then we went off and did.
We will get to that.
We did this run. It's either 2000, 2001, but I think it's 2000.
Okay.
And we're in Tokyo, and Zakk and Dime are supposed to do a cover for Young Guitar. And,
which Young Guitar magazine is a very popular Japanese guitar playing magazine.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Got it.
And we're over there, and the photo shoot goes off, and here's me. I'm still new, so it had to be about 2000. And I'm just in awe. Now I'm meeting these guys, you know what I mean? It's the first time meeting these guys. And
was it just on that set, was it just Dime, or was the whole band there?
everybody was there. We were all in the hotel. I ended up drinking and getting really drunk with Rex.
Rex Brown, the bass player from Pantera.
Talking to some golf pro.
Love that guy.
While Zakk was off doing his thing. And while they were doing the shoot, I didn't have to be there. And we come back, and flying anywhere with Zakk is a trip, because if you fall asleep, you're getting your ass pummeled with drinks or whatever. And so we were up, and I just remember all these models were on the plane, and everybody was hitting on the models. Everybody was hitting, and I was married at the time.
Going from where? Like you're going L.A. to Tokyo?
L.A. to Tokyo, because,
okay.
American models are big over there. I just remember all the guys, hitting on the models, and they're like,
you guys are all dirtbags anyway.
Dirtbags. Fucking we're on a plane. We haven't showered.
You're heavy metalist,
we
right?
got we leather, denim, dirt, and so they're all on the plane and blah blah blah, and we get to the shows, and we can't stay in our normal hotel because Pantera had shot up their hotel the year prior with pellet guns. It's
nice.
It's all on the video.
So no, you're in Japan. So Black Label is out with who?
We were out with ourselves. You just play
in
your
Japan.
own play your own show.
So you weren't really on tour with Pantera.
No, but it worked out that they were both in town, so they were going to go do it.
Okay.
We can't stay in our normal hotel because they gave it to Pantera, because Pantera had shot up their hotel the year before with a bunch of automatic pellet guns.
Oh, splendid!
And it's all on one of their DVDs about that. So Zakk's mad because we can't stay in our hotel. We have to stay in theirs, and they're staying in ours. So we have to do this video shoot. So it's awesome because Zakk's sitting there. He's mad about something. And if you look on the cover, his knuckles are all bloody because he's been punching a wall.
I've seen that.
So they do the photo shoot, and it goes great. We go out to this place called the Lexington Queen, which is a world-famous bar to hang out in. And Zakk and Dime are just meeting.
For the first time?
Well, not for the first time, but they're just hanging out for the first time.
Right.
There's a rule. Zakk doesn't get any liquor. No Jack Daniels. No.
Nothing hard.
Only beer.
Okay.
And the thing is he only drinks beer.
Okay. That's not true, but I mean,
no. At the time,
that was the goal.
At the time, it was true.
Okay.
At the time, it was true. He just drank beer.
Okay.
And so they're giving him Crown,
Mm.
and we're in this bar, and it's famous for the rock stars, for the actors.
So it was an upscale Tokyo bar.
It's not an upscale bar, but it's where the famous people hung.
Okay.
So we're there, and all those models are there, the ones we saw on the plane, because it's obviously the place to go.
Right.
And Zakk and Dime were sitting there at a table, and Vinny was there, and Crusher was there, and there was a couple of us, Tim Boland, and it's, no booze for Zakk.
Mm.
They're giving him Crown Royal.
Mm.
It's just like, nah, man, you can't do that. Can't do that. And it's going on and on and on. And they start, they get into this discussion about arm wrestling.
Arm wrestling?
Arm wrestling. Everything's a competition with Pantera. Dude, I'll give you $500 if you arm wrestle him and beat him.
Really?
So it became very, very dysfunctional very fast. And I could see this. And as I could see this, the one girl that was the hot model on the plane comes over and starts talking to me.
Okay.
And me, I'm married. I don't give two shits about models. I blow people off. Fuck models, I see, fucking
well, the road will make you that way.
Well, yeah, but this girl comes over to me and she goes, "Hi, I wanted to talk to you." I'm like, "You wanted to talk to me?" She goes, "Do you remember me?" I'm like, "No, I don't remember who the fuck." And all I'm doing is I'm watching what's going on over there.
Right.
And because I got my eye on it. And she's like, "I was on the plane." I'm like, "Oh, hey, cool." She goes, "You and that guy over there were the only two that didn't hit on me." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Sorry." And I'm trying to watch and see what's going on, but I'm trying not to be obvious. And so she's yapping in my ear. Finally, I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." Yeah. I've got a job to do here. And let me get some change here.
Yeah, you better about some more money, Bob.
Oh, yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. And so I'm trying to watch what's going on, but I can tell that the rocker's getting agitated.
Which is Zakk.
Zakk's getting agitated.
Okay.
And so I go over to find
what?
I go over to find out why, and they're talking arm wrestling. Now Zakk's a big weightlifting guy, and they're talking arm wrestling. And
I mean, the two bands are kind of like talking to
oh
each
yeah,
other.
they're having a. And the thing is they said to their security guy who was big arms, he said, "Dude, give you $500 if you beat him." And Zakk's like, "There ain't no way he's going to beat me." Blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on, and it just keeps
bravado.
It keeps building up. And it's the first time these guys are like really hanging out, and I'm sitting there watching from afar. I'm like, I got to get over there, and this chick follows me. I'm like, beat it, you know. That's just me. It was me on the road, you know. 18 years on the road, I never cheated on my wife. My wife, she doesn't believe me to this day. Never. Not once. Didn't have to. Didn't want to. And I've got this chick following me.
Okay.
And she's a model. And I'm like, beat it, you know. And then it happens.
Okay.
Dude, okay.
There we go.
I'll fucking take it. He goes and he takes a piss. And he comes back. And they're going to arm wrestle.
It wasn't for the piss. It was for the F-bomb.
Yeah. So they're...
You still have more of that.
And so they're arm wrestling. Okay. They start this arm wrestling.
So Zakk is arm wrestling the Pantera bodyguard.
Yeah. $500 if you put him down.
Okay.
And this guy's he's got guns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a big dude. And he's got Zakk, and he's got his wrist bent, and he's got him all the way down there. And he can't finish him off.
Okay.
Cannot fucking finish him off. And he sits there and he goes, they're like, come on, you fucking puss, blah, blah, blah. Beat him. Puss doesn't count. So he's going, oh, yeah, and just like a Rocky movie or some shit like that, Zakk comes up from like this,
brings him up,
and he's got him, where he wants him, and he's going to, he's taking him over, and like, come on, man, you got to beat him. It's $500. I'll give you $1,000 if you beat him. And Zakk pins this guy.
Really?
Comes back from like there,
all the way down,
and he beats this guy.
Okay.
And they're like, Zakk, he doesn't give two shit. He's not even fucking paying attention to what he's doing. And and he beats this guy, and he stands up. He's like, yeah. Now, it's a marble tabletop, you know, table.
Yeah.
On an iron.
Yeah.
And he reaches down, and this guy's sitting there, and he goes, yeah. And he reaches out, and he punches the guy. Like, you know,
punches him?
He doesn't mean to punch him.
A guy thing, right?
It's a guy thing. So, yeah. And he goes to, you know, like, yeah. But he nails the guy in the nose. Instead of just like, you know.
In the nose?
And instead of hitting him in the chest.
In the nose?
Because he's not looking. He's got his arms up like this. Yeah. And he goes like this, and he pops him right in the face.
Wow.
Right in the face. And the guy goes,
wow.
Oh. And the guy's bent over like this. He's going, oh. And Zakk goes, yeah. And he goes, boom, and he hits the table. Busts the tabletop off the bolts of the iron table. The table comes up and goes like this. Boom. Hits the guy square in the face. Now the guy's doubled up, and he hasn't even opened his eyes yet. He doesn't even know what. He doesn't even know what terror he's just unleashed. The bar's clearing out. People are running, thinking they're like,
God, dude,
you know,
this is awesome.
It's going on. The next thing you know, and God rest both of their souls.
Yeah.
Vinny and Dime are out of there. They're like, he's nuts. They've never hung out with him before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you not to give him any damn Crown Royal. You know what I mean? And look what happens when you give him whiskey, you know. And this guy's bleeding. He's got bloody nose. He's walking out of the place, and he opens his eyes finally. He says, "Where are they going?" Wow. I'm like, dude, he's like looking down. There's drinks are spilled. People are gone. They're all like running because he's like King Kong, you know. And he's punching him in the ass going up the steps.
Wow.
And he's like, where the hell are you going? They're like, good. They're like, fuck you, Zakk. Get out of here, man. We don't.
Right.
And so, you know, it's like, the dude's bleeding there. He's like, dude, I'm just joking around.
Was the band pissed at Zakk for that?
No, they weren't pissed at Zakk.
It was just funny.
Yeah, you know, and so they're leaving. They're like, we're out of here. And we get, you know, it's like, I don't know what happened. What it's like, you don't know what happened. You should have seen what just happened.
Yeah.
And that was the first night that I got to hang out with both of them. And Tim and I were always on damage control, and it's just like Tim.
Tim was the manager, not manager,
tour manager,
right?
And at this time, Tim just worked for Gibson.
Tap on it here.
Tim just worked for Gibson Guitars, so he was just hanging out at the time.
I didn't know he worked for Gibson.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's the Zakk Wylde Ace Frehley guy.
I did not know
He did
that.
the Ace Frehley guitars. Did the Nicky Six bass. He did all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
And so Tim did all that stuff, and that's why he's over in Japan with us. And I'm like, Tim, we got to do some damage control. So we sent them. You can find anything in Japan. 13 black roses.
Black roses?
You realize how hard it is to find black roses?
Yeah, anywhere.
And so we had them spray paint them. And they sent them to they had them send them to
the nose guy.
To Pantera, and it's like, hey man, sorry about, last night. And in our hotel, we got a half-gallon of Crown Royal. And they said, anytime, sorry. And that really bonded.
Yeah, no doubt.
That really bonded Zakk and
well, Dimebag's drink was Black Tooth
Grin, Crown Royal.
So what is that?
It's a full glass of Crown Royal, and somebody takes a thing of Coke and goes like this and just splashes it in there. So it's
all Crown and very.
It's all Crown, but it comes from the Megadeth song Black Tooth Grin.
Yeah.
So So he liked it. They called it a Black Tooth Grin. It stuck, and that became the drink. And
so let me ask you this. So Zakk and Dimebag formed this friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And Dimebag was photographed so many times wearing a Black Label vest.
He got a Black Label tattoo.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, and this is all
he was buried in his Black Label vest.
Always kind of around the time that I started working with Washburn, and I'm coming in late on the game here, and I meet Fred late on the game. But you've had all this history, so this is hard to talk about. But I remember the night that I got the call from Chad Dyer, our mutual friend, and Chad Lee, who both were in the same car, and I think they were traveling to not in Columbus where Dime was killed.
They were going to Chicago.
The next night, right?
Chicago.
And Washburn, the irony of the whole thing was you were still on the road, right?
No, I was home.
Were you home?
I was in my kitchen.
So the Washburn had invited me to come to Chicago, as I typically had done in those eras. You and I never made that trip to Chicago for Washburn. That's the funny part. You were never around.
Yep.
But they invited me to come out to Chicago to see the Damage Plan show, knowing that they had already lost his contract. But there were so many Washburn employees, though, like Chewy, Steve Bennett, Eric Carroll. I can go on and on. That they were friendly with Dime, and Dime loved that custom shop. That custom shop.
He left the company, but he still loved
absolutely
the people.
Yeah, so
that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, and so it was. So for me, Fred, I was sitting in my basement at the time watching TV, and Chad Lee, a good friend of mine and a very accomplished rock photographer, which I believe is coming on this show soon, and a good friend of yours, very good friend, and Chad Dyer as well. Chad was the media executive for Black Label. Chad handled all the at that time it wasn't Facebook, it was MySpace and the web stuff. Those two guys were en route to Chicago to see the next show, and Chad was very close to Dime. Chad Lee was very close to Dime. Chad calls me on the phone, and it was strange because it was like 11 at night.
It was late, yeah.
And he calls me, and I was like, call me an old fogey at the time, but I was almost in bed, and I'm like, and he's crying, and I'm like, dude, what is the deal? I couldn't understand him. I remember calling you going, Chad Lee called me, and you're like, Eric, I heard what happened, but I can't tell you, and I'll call you back. That's what you told me. But Chad Lee was so hysterical, and I think I kind of grasped at the time what he was saying to me, but it was unfathomable. So from my short little annex of the story here was I got that information, and I called you. You couldn't give me anything. I called Nick. He wasn't answering the phone, but I saw it on the news. And then I put two and two together. So if you're comfortable with it, take me back to that night where after I called you, how did you find out that Dimebag was killed?
Oh, they called me straight from the club. There was
From
still,
the club.
Yeah, there was still people screaming. Somebody called.
Was it Dunford? Danny Dunford? Did he reach out to you? Who was it that called?
Somebody called, and I can't remember. Somebody called, and I could still hear people yelling and screaming. They were still inside the damn club.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
nobody knew.
Are you
where,
comfortable?
no,
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody knew who to call, and somebody asked me if I had a phone number for.
Well, people thought you were there because
I was with him a couple days before.
Well, here's the funny part about it. You were with him the night before in Pittsburgh.
A couple
I
days
remember
before.
this, and 2 days. And you had called me that afternoon and said, "Hey, Dime's going to be in Pittsburgh at Damage Plan. Do you want to go?" And I swear to God, this is as clear as I can remember. My son had his first soccer game that next day.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go, and you went.
Mm-hmm.
And I
reluctantly went.
And I wish that you weren't ready to go that night either. But the night before, and you called me from there going, "Dude, you should have been here. Dime wanted to see you. He wanted to let you know why he was going to Dean, and he was going to thank you for the guitars you did, and he really wanted to party with you."
Yeah, we talked.
I wanted to be there, but I think I opted at that time. You can't rewrite history. My son's soccer game was important to me,
of course.
So I went there. I so wish I would have went with you that night. I so wish I would have went to you with that night. Where was the show? Whiskey Dick's?
No, it's some.
Where was the show?
Some place it's not even there anymore on the South Side. It was just it was some short-lived club, and I just remember
Nick's Fat City.
No, it's on the South. It was down
South Side. I'm sorry.
It was down there where Station Square.
I so wish I would have been there.
It was in Station Square, and the club's not there. The irony of the thing is my band used to play in there before they. I've got two, so that's you.
Okay.
Gotta chug it.
Nothing's ever changed, huh, Fred?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I had a great night with them and shit like that. And
I just felt bad because you gave me the opportunity to go. And I don't regret, obviously my child's event, but it was one of those things. Had I known what was obviously coming ahead, it was a missed opportunity for me to be in his presence, and I feel terrible about that.
Man, he's a great guy, man. I really, really liked him. Anytime.
So talk about that night. Do you remember what happened that night? I mean, I saw photos, you guys hanging out, partying, the whole bit, the Black Label thing.
Yeah. We hung out. I just remember the different things that he said to me, and I just remember he said that I needed to come on stage and sing "Walk."
I remember that, yeah.
And
I remember that. You told me that, yeah.
And some fans actually sent me some pictures of me on stage with them singing "Walk," and I was really, really didn't want to do it. He just kept throwing. He kept throwing cups of Crown Royal at me, and he kept throwing guitar picks at me. And for the longest time, in my pocket, I kept one of the picks.
Yeah,
and I
know that,
and I kept it with me forever, and I actually got up and sang "Walk" with him, and the kids from Shadows, John Donier and Matt and all those guys. They were up there, and we sang "Walk," and we had a.
Did they open for the
they opened.
So Shadows Fall was a band in the 2000s that actually opened for Damage Plan on that tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we had a blast, and I took my neighbor kids to go see them.
I remember.
And so my neighbor kids were like thrilled, and we had a blast. And I told them I'd see them in a couple of weeks, and then just never.
2-3 nights later, it was like.
Yeah, it was about a week later, and. But I remember I was sitting in my kitchen and somebody called.
When you heard.
Yeah.
Who called you?
I can't remember.
Someone from the club.
Somebody was inside the club, and they called me, and literally I couldn't,
Did you believe it?
No, I didn't believe it. It was just one of those things where, you hear people screaming, you hear people crying, and you're just like, what? And I remember I fell into a chair.
Yeah, I mean, but let me ask you this: who contacted you, or what did you see that actually made you believe it was real?
Oh, I believed it. When you hear the scope of people screaming and crying, I mean, it had just happened.
Yeah,
like minutes. People were still inside the club trying to get out of it.
So let me take a break here for our audience that do not know who we're talking about. Dimebag Darrell. Guitar player for the band Pantera, probably with Zakk Wylde, known as being the heavy metal / hard rock guitar player of his generation. was murdered on stage, and I think it was the first couple days of December 2004. And it happened at a club called the Alla Rosa in Columbus, Ohio. And Fred having a history with him, me having a very short, small little sliver of him giving me permission to do guitars while he moved from my company to a different company, Washburn to Dean Guitars. But I was heavily invested in his work, and he had always been very positive. Through Chad Lee and Chad Dyer, he loved what we did. I think it's funny, Fred, if we had come on the scene a year earlier with Washburn,
I agree.
Dime would have probably stayed with Washburn.
We could have did wonderful things.
And Dean was great. I mean, he went to a good company who loved him. Those people were devastated. I can't speak. And Elliot loved, God rest his soul. Never got a chance to work with Elliot. Mad respect for all those guys.
He you know what? I met him years later, and
mad respect for him. He never thought I dug him, but I mad.
And that's what he said. And that's what
I
he
have
said.
Mad respect for him.
And that's what I actually told him. I said, it's healthy competition. And he paid
loved what we did.
He paid me a wonderful compliment.
Awesome.
And he said, I finally got to meet you. And he said that my setups he was told were legendary.
Yeah.
And he sang praises of you. He said, you guys did wonderful things there.
We did, and we were very respectful to them. So friends, the way it worked was this Dimebag Darrell artist was amazing. He was killed. Before he was killed, he had a 6-month window to have the ability to work with us. He gave us the leeway to do some good stuff. We couldn't get all the guitars made because there wasn't enough time.
With Southern Cross?
Yeah, there wasn't enough time, though.
No.
But he moved on to another company, and we abided by the contract. We wished him well. And Fred and I have mutual friends. One of the friends is Chad Lee, who's a rock photographer, who's probably he helped me out tremendously. Chad Lee was such a great guy. When I needed photos for thank you, buddy. Salute.
Hang on.
Oh, easy, Bell. I love Tito's though. When I wanted photos done for an artist, Chad was the first guy I called. He shot photos for Paul Stanley for me, John Donier. Oh my gosh, Scott Ian of Anthrax. So whenever I had a certain guitar that we did with Washburn, for under Boogie Street for a certain artist, it was hard for me being married, multiple kids. Chad would go to these shows and take the promos photos for us, and I'm telling you this day, Chad Lee never charged me a dime for the work he did for me.
You just blew it for him.
No. But it was a unique situation. But the guy was such a tremendous guy. And I will always be appreciative of what he did. But the point was, it was such a horrific time. Like I remember talking to my wife at that time that I was married to, and she was in there with me. She knew what was going on, and she's like, "Wait a second, who gets killed on stage by a fan?
Yeah.
By a fan?"
Yeah, he was a nut.
Nathan fucking Gale.
I'll spot
Pay
you.
mine, pal.
I'll spot you.
Yeah, pay mine. That's the first F-bomb you ever hear. But you know what? This son of a bitch went on, took the life of not only Dimebag, but other people as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because of...
and that's what people tend to forget, that there were others.
No one should ever forget. I guess my issue is... my issue is just... It's hard for me because mental illness is a real thing. So this gentleman suffered from mental illness, and again, you hate giving an excuse, but it was such a horrific and unnecessary thing. The guy basically entered the club from the back door, somehow got past, and he killed a couple people, including Dimebag Darrell, on stage. And changed heavy metal forever that day.
It changed the way a lot of people conduct business.
Right.
The way
I wanted to ask you that. How did you see touring change from that day?
Oh, Jesus! I saw a big change in the way Zakk handled people. Zakk would see everybody, and after that you had to protect yourself. You had to be cautious. Everybody has to be cautious nowadays, dude. I had stalkers, and
I know. I'm aware.
And, and it's just, people are nuts. And
I hate to think that though. Fred.
Well, so do I, and that's what the problem is I have with things now. Is I trust everybody. I believe in everybody. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And you've got crazy people, and here's me.
Not many, but they're out there.
But they're out there, and I seem to attract them
because you're trusting.
And that's exactly it. And I've come to the point where even I'm guarded. You know what I mean? I watch,
and I hate to see you that way. I do. I hate to see it that way.
But it's happened over years, and recently I've given trust to people that you try to help them as best you can, but you can't help them all.
So that happened in December of 2004. Now think about that, friends. That is going back
15 years.
Yeah, 15 flipping years. So you had left Black Label at that time, and I think if I'm not,
I left in 2005.
Okay, so you were still with BLS.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. So we know that we've established that's happened. So looking at your journey, correct me if I'm wrong. The next band you were with was Shinedown.
No,
Shinedown, right? Yeah.
Oh, I love those.
Now, the funny part about it was, here I am. They were off my radar because I wasn't the kind of guy who would turn on like the local rock station here and just absorb what's new. At that time, I probably you'll laugh. I was probably in my early 40s. And I had kind of given up on hear me out.
I was in my 30s.
Come on, jackass. But you know me. I had given up on terrestrial radio. I just dug what I dug. So the free time I did have with little ones grabbing at my legs, I spent listening to what I dug. So Shinedown was not on my radar, but I was aware quickly how big they were. And you worked with, I think, a fantastic guy, Mr. Jasin Todd. You were the guitar tech for Jasin Todd of Shinedown.
I love that guy.
Mid-2000s, right?
I love that guy. Yep.
Let's enter it.
Let's stop right there.
All right, we're back. So full disclosure, Fred and I had to go to the bathroom. We had to pee. And what it is. We've been doing this for freaking. We're just getting started. So in the meantime, when I left the studio for a second, I come back and there's some kind of crazy. I don't know if you can see this online, but there's some kind of crazy popcorn machine here.
I got a popcorn machine.
See this I did not know was in the bag.
I need a big bag to bring
the problem with you doing this is any future guest is going to expect me to have popcorn on here.
So you got to go buy a machine.
You spoiled me now.
You know what I mean?
You spoiled my future guest.
It's one of those things. Look, I'm gonna
okay.
All future guests demand popcorn. I'll rent it to them.
Of course.
I've been drinking all night.
We're good. We're in good shape. So, thank you for indulging me on the Dimebag. I mean, because listen, Dimebag's legacy was all about fun. It was all about fun.
It was all about that. You know what's funny?
So I don't want to be I don't want to be negative about it.
No. And that's what he brought to it. Rock and roll is supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be.
And I say this to these guys. When I see somebody out there having a bad day, it's supposed to be fun. That's what we got into this for. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to be millionaires. Some people did. But you know what I did it for? To be fun.
And to be free to a degree, and I get it.
So it's all about having a good time and playing music and making other people happy.
So Shinedown.
Because
that was kind of like the first big band that when we started, hanging out, working together, you were out with them.
I was out with Zakk when I was with you.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah.
But then the next one.
The Shinedown, you were literally like unemployed for like 3 days before Shinedown came, right? And I was kind of bummed because I'm thinking Fred's going to be in town for a while. Yeah, I'm going out. I'm like, what do you mean you're going out? I'm going out with Shinedown. Man. I'm like, what's a Shinedown? Because you don't know what a Shinedown is. I'm like, well, I don't listen to like pop music. He goes, it's not pop music, it's good music. I'm like, okay. But then of course I was immediately aware of it. And then Jasin Todd, what a great guy, man.
Fantastic guitar player. Love the guy to death. Saw him the other day. He's doing great. He's in Nashville.
Jason with an I.
Jasin, yes.
I was corrected by Jason on that years ago.
And he and Brent Smith were they were the Aerosmith of the new thing
in the 2000s.
The Toxic Twins, and they were the songwriters, and they were, they wrote some incredible stuff, and I love both of them to death. Jay's still one of my best buddies. I go down to Nashville and see him, and he's got a heart of gold, and I can't say enough good things about those guys. Yeah. Those guys, they let me sit around, and they were the first band that let me believe back in rock and roll again. Well, I met Jasin on tour with Zakk Wylde.
Really? I didn't know that.
He was in a band called Nefarian.
Did not know that.
Zakk, being the guy that he is, met these guys. They were the opening band in a club, and he liked them so much. They were the opening band of Freebirds down in Jacksonville, which is one of the last times I got my hair cut ever. He told these guys, "I love you guys. Come on tour with us." Yeah, he was drunk.
Wait. So he sees a band one night and goes, "Hey, come on tour with us."
And they were underage.
That's so Black Label.
And these guys hopped in a Winnebago, and they came out on tour with us. And it was amazing. And I just remember Jasin saying to me one day, he goes, "Hey, man, yeah, you do talk like this. Y'all wanted to know if your names are going to be said? Your names are getting said."
We love you, Jasin.
And he goes, "Hey, man, if I ever become famous, man."
That's pretty much him.
Yeah, see, I told you. "Hey, man, if I ever become famous, will you be my guitar tech?" And I'm like, "Sure, kid, here's my number." Because he wasn't famous yet.
Sure.
And literally over the years, he called me like 3 times. He's like, "Hey, man, I just got signed. Can you be?" I'm like, kid, I got this Ozzy tour coming up." "Hey, man, I just, could you help me out? Hey, man, dude, literally, man, I've got, we're going to have Jasin on the show."
I'd love to have him. Dude, I would love for him and Chad Lee to drive up here or fly them in. I got to have those guys.
They would be amazing.
This would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
So he says, "Hey, man, would you be my tech?" I'm like, kid, I don't do it anymore." And he calls me one day. He goes, "Hey, man, I just sold 1.25 million CDs. Can you be my tech now?" And I'm like, kid, I retired from the business. And then he called me one day and he goes, "Hey, man, I really need your help. Can you tech for me?" I'm like, "Of course I can."
Right.
And so I did. I went and did it. And I love the guy to death.
And we did
and he knows.
Yeah, he does.
There he is, right there.
Yeah, he does.
We gave him a boogie bolt.
Yeah, so about that whole Jasin Todd thing, Fred calls me one day and goes, I definitely want some popcorn, so you better make that thing work. It's making a hell of a lot of noise over there.
I'm making it now.
So we were doing the Dime had passed nationally, and we had that little window, and we made a guitar called the Boogie Bolt, which is not really a Dime guitar, but it was in the spirit of that thing. And you were in, where were you, man? Tulsa?
That's in Chicago.
You were in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, he calls me and goes, Fred goes, "Hey, so E, I can't tell you how to spend your promo money, of course." But if you're ever, listen, we were very generous with, would you not agree?
Yeah,
we were generous with artists because not only do we like them, some of them, but we also love to have them playing our stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you said to me, "Look, I'm teching for Jasin Todd of Shinedown, and just you're going to have to trust me. The guy is incredible, not only from a playing standpoint, but he's a great guy." And that was my word. And you know what? That guitar was shipped out that day.
Yeah, it arrived to us in Chicago.
And, on camera you can't see it, but there's a photo right over there of the unboxing when you guys unboxed that thing.
Unboxed it. Yeah, I remember.
And it was.
Boy, that would be a good YouTube video.
I wish
I had it. Like they do these unboxing things.
Yeah. Unboxing your cell phone. Yes. But I remember there's photos of you unboxing, and Jasin had his hair like with a towel.
Because he just got out of the shower when I gave it to him. Yeah. See, I'm the king of surprises.
Yes, you are. But he loved it, and there's some great shots, which I think you shot.
I did.
And then Chad Lee grabbed a couple more from me, like a couple shows in, of him playing that Boogie Bolt, and that was so rewarding to me. And you know, I mean, might not believe, but Jasin helped me sell those units because it reached a different not a genre, but different group of rock and roll fans, right?
That's the idea, to reach out and let everybody explore the love of guitars and music.
Yeah.
And so they got the. He had it's up there in the picture. Of course, you can't see it.
Jasin can't see it. There's a photo of you, Jasin, right here in the studio.
Thanks, man.
In the Boogie Street
I think
studio.
he has seen I've shown it to him.
Cool.
Oh man, is that me?
We're gonna get here, Jasin. No matter what we have to do, you'll be in here.
We're gonna get you in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he loved it. He played it, and you know, it was a great guitar. We gave him a white lightning.
Yeah,
we gave him a white
you
lightning.
know who else we gave a white lightning to? Salute, brother.
Salute.
You know who else we gave a white lightning to?
Corey
You
Taylor.
oh my God, you ruined it. Yeah.
No, and it's in his Looking Through the Glass video on YouTube. I've seen it.
Stone Sour?
Stone Sour.
No
he
kidding.
He plays it on a live thing. He plays it through. It's on Through the Glass.
Wow. So we had a white guitar here. We did hollow body for those who play. We did it with Washburn, and Fred actually named it White Lightning. I didn't. We did at that time. We did a zebra wood, and we did a white one. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, what do I call this thing? And I'm like, you know, now here's the differentiation between Fred and I. I love Rush. Love Rush. Rush.
Can I say it?
No, don't you say a damn thing yet. So I love Rush, and Alex Lifeson is definitely on my hierarchy of like great guitar players. And he played an ES 345, 55,
335.
Okay, whatever it was, Gibson. And I said, I'm going to create a guitar similar with Washburn, with that, you know, the same appointments. And if Alex would ever see that, he'd love it. But I'm sure he didn't. The point was, I made that guitar in the spirit of Alex Lifeson.
See, I did not know
Which you
that.
grinded your teeth about. Yeah, I told you. Fred's not a Rush fan. But the point was, it was a great guitar. And David Caron, who was the artist relations director for Washburn, David Caron, great guy. He was cool because he was introducing my products, my guitars, to bands that were off my radar.
Yeah.
Alkaline Trio was one. Remember that? Alkaline Trio, we did some work with them. The Darkest Hour.
Breaking Benjamins.
Yeah, Breaking Benjamin. And then you had a friend who was a tech for them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. The point was, in that era, much to my, you know, Fred was always instrumental in, hey, Eric, you need to break away from this rigid mindset of music you have. I mean, there's a big wide world out there. I see it. And your guitars appeal to multiple people. It could be pop, it could be rock, it could be whatever it is. And yeah, you were always good at like getting me to expand my horizons. So for that, you know, it was really good. But I look back on it now, and the Boogie Street Studio is definitely a tribute to what we did. But, you know, we did some good stuff. And the funny part was, before we continue with Shinedown, I hear it. Yes, the popcorn is popping. We made a lot of people happy. Fred.
We did.
Yeah, they'd open those guitars, and they'd open the cases. It was called the Boogie Street Experience. Remember that?
Yep. I actually did, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You know what? You did get a Boogie Street experience. You got...
No, really.
Sexy
Yeah,
Kowalo.
your Kowalo is just amazing.
It was in the bag. They were like fillers for the bag, you know.
And for those who are listening on the audio podcast, yes, indeed, you are hearing popcorn.
You're hearing my
live.
popcorn.
Yes, the guy's insane. He brought a popcorn maker to this podcast.
I keep this on my road box on TSO.
I'm sure.
This is I make
That's Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You tour with everybody.
I make popcorn during
So
TSO.
Shinedown, it was. I'm trying to keep this civil. There's a lot of phone calls I got from you late at night, like, I don't know what I'm doing out here.
Why am I here?
These guys are crazy, Eric. They're crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, no. Honestly, I was a very mild-mannered business owner. I had a schedule. I had a wife. I had a nice little suburban life. I was a normal guy, surrounded by madness.
And then you got me.
And then Fred comes in the picture, and at like 2:30 in the morning, my phone rings. Yeah, dude, I'm out. Where, Freddie? Where are you? And I hear all this noise. Yeah, man, we're like between Tulsa and St. Louis. And of course, my mind, jars back to reality. Well, that's a pretty big span. Where are you?
I didn't know.
Well, the bus's AC kind of broke, and we have all the windows open because it's July. It was always an adventure. I remember. Look at that popcorn. The boot. I remember you back in probably 2009 trying to Skype me with like live video from. I want to say it was somewhere in Central America with Megadeth. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was never surprised by you. But the Shinedown thing was really good for you because that was your first gig after Black Label, right?
Yeah. And again, I tried to retire again. And that was the thing. Is I go into retirement, and people
Doesn't last long.
And people always get me out. Yeah. It's let's see how long this retirement lasts. But in all honesty, I love doing it. I love meeting people. I love meeting the fans. And I love making music.
Any stories from Shinedown?
We don't have enough time. It's only a 5-hour battery. I love those guys. We've had so much fun.
Are they a different band now than they were?
They were. And I've gone and seen them with and without Jason. And I love Brent. I love Barry. And I like the new guys, Eric and Zakk. But
so I don't have to be as politically correct as you. So I'm a fan, right?
Yeah.
Jasin Todd was the flippin' man, right?
He was.
My point was, I like them now, but they're more of a pop band to me.
Yeah,
and when
it's
Jason
changed.
was
the music's changed.
Yeah, when Jason was in the band, it was a rock and roll band.
Yeah,
that's my take as a music appreciator.
No, and I agree with you. I really agree with you. Things evolve, and that's like the. Everything evolves. Even I've evolved.
I don't know about that, but good.
But it just. I prefer them with Jay. Back in the day, that was my thing. So. But they're still.
Love that guy.
They're tops.
Love that guy.
But I love Jay. I love the music he's doing. He'll send me stuff that he's doing now. He'll send me stuff from his friends.
Jason, put me on your email list, please, buddy. Please.
Does he do you on Instagram?
He does.
Good.
But I want the email because I want the tracks.
Oh, they're awesome. And he does great stuff, man. And it just,
he has his own style of playing. That's what I love about him.
Absolutely.
A very unique style of playing guitar. And
Absolutely.
as a guitar player, I love that.
No, the dude's amazing. And he's one of my best friends. So, yeah, I can say that. I said your name on the radio. Okay.
No radio here. This is better than radio. So Shinedown ends. You come home. I'm thinking, I got afraid of Boogie Street for months, right? And then Alice in Chains calls you.
Oh, Alice in Chains.
Alice in Change. Alice and Change.
Alice and Change. And Mikey.
How'd that happen?
I've known Mikey forever.
Mike Inez, right?
Yep, Mike Inez. And they needed somebody to come in, and I went in.
Give Mike's history so people that are listening to
Mike,
know. Mike Inez.
Mike started with Ozzy, and he went from Ozzy to Heart to Black Label to Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
And he might have went to Alice in Chains and then Heart. But no matter what, the guy's amazing.
He wore his Black Label vest all the time.
No, he was awesome.
Yeah, always, right?
I've been blessed with, I have worked with great guys. I've worked with legends in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, for me, that's one of the highlights of knowing the people that I've known.
Right.
And if you remember, I did INXS as well. Working with Kirk Pengilly. I was an INXS fan. Look at you eating. I love it.
Wait.
Another shot coming up.
Wait. You work with INXS in Australia.
Not South America.
Oh, okay.
South America.
I remember that.
I went to South America with them, and it was the greatest time I ever had.
That was the lost tour for you, though.
I
didn't hear from you for weeks.
Oh, no.
I'm out with INXS. You text me. I'm out with INXS. Coverage is bad. Things are strange. I'll see you when I get home.
It was
pretty much what I got from you.
It was really strange. I mean, it was an incredible tour.
Yeah.
But they were great guys. Alice in Chains was great the whole time.
Oh, you loved that show. I remember loved that gig.
Oh, my God, I love that gig. I miss Mike very much. My buddy Scott's in there now. And I went and saw him last year. We went and saw him a couple times. And they're just amazing. Just amazing. They're all good guys. Love them all.
I love Cantrell.
Oh, he's
I love his tone.
amazing player.
I love his tone. I love his note selection.
Yep.
Great guy.
Totally unique.
What's really interesting about that, and from a memory standpoint for me, was that you contacted me one night. I will never forget this. And maybe I had the wrong band, but I think I'm right. You contacted me, and you said, "E, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm out in Vegas, and I think, I'm not sure, I think the Ox is dead."
What is it?
You said, "I think the Ox is dead," was when the Who's bass player died, and Whistle. And I remember saying, "What?" Because I'm a big Who fan. And you go, "Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I'm out here with, I think it was Alice in Chains. I think it was ironically you were in Vegas the same time that John Entwistle of the Who passed away, and you happened to be either at the hotel or a neighboring hotel, whatever the delusion was, but you were there.
We were somewhere close.
And I'm like, "What do you mean the Ox is dead?" He goes, I can't be sure, but I'm sad to tell you, I think he's dead." It wasn't more than 3 or 4 hours after that it was reported that John was passed.
Yep.
That was just like, wow, what a kick in the gut. But you knew you were there.
Oh, I knew when Michael Jackson died. We were in Canada, and we knew ahead of everybody. That's what's it's what's crazy about being in this business. It's like things spread like wildfire. You're gonna love this because just watching you eat popcorn.
Go ahead. I love popcorn. Go
No, just watching you eat the popcorn.
Go ahead.
But no, it's and that's what's just in this business. It's great to be on the inside track of things and be there when things happen. That was one of the things I always liked about. I was able to hear the stories that I've heard. Like Oz tell me stories, you know what I mean, and Zakk telling me stories, and and you hear them from the people that did these things. Oz telling me old Sabbath stories.
Yeah, that would so blow me away.
And I remember
that band meant so much to me as a kid.
Exactly, but to hear these stories from the guys that actually were there,
they were there.
They did it. You know what I mean? And it amazes me sometimes, and it's not being egotistical. It's not. But to be able to have my own stories and say, I did this with this guy, or I did this with that guy. I was part of rock and roll history. That's what, Zakk and I got drunk and on absinthe. It was my birthday. Had all these crazy things happen on my birthday. I went to Stonehenge. I met Syd Barrett. We drank a
Wait, you met Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Let's hear it.
I thought you knew that story.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Unleash it, pal.
So,
this is the estranged one of the original members of Pink Floyd who was committed for mental illness and basically had to leave the band early on. And has been a quote-unquote mystery for a long time. He passed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, but like his legacy is lived on. Was he on Umaguma? I mean, what albums was he on early on?
Oh, still all the
Floyd?
early stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So
He did a bunch of acid. And
acid is not good.
So, literally, we were in Belgium or some shit, and I said, "Watch out. This bacon has bones in it. It's country-style bacon." And I just remember Greg Nunemacher, the drummer for Black Label, going, "Oh, yeah, the bacon has bones in it." I bit down in his bacon. He busted his
Broke his tooth.
Broke his two front choppers out. And did I swear? I don't even know if I swore. I just throw it in there. But so he breaks his teeth out.
I love Craig, too.
And we got to go find a dentist.
In Belgium?
No, we waited till we got to England. Poor guy's got busted teeth.
I'm not laughing at your expenses.
And I'm sitting there going, and we're walking, and it was my birthday. I still remember it was my birthday. And my dad loved Pink Floyd. And I said, Dad, I had such a great day. You know, I went and I was like the first person in Stonehenge that morning. Like, we had to stop while Craig got his teeth done. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to go to Stonehenge. And
is there graffiti on there?
No, there's nothing on there. It's a bunch of crows, a bunch of ravens. But there was no graffiti.
I want to go there so bad.
It's beautiful. You're driving down the road, and look, over there in the cow field is a stone circle. That's all it is. I mean, it's bang right there. And
I heard you can't walk up there anymore.
No, you can't walk up to it. No, because from people walking on it all the time, it kind of wore it down, so they're afraid of the stones toppling over.
Yeah. Right.
But so I go to Stonehenge, I come back, blah blah blah. Craigo's got his teeth fixed. And Craigo and I were walking to, I don't know where the hell we were going. Maybe to a pharmacy or maybe meet the guys. Or I can't remember how it happened.
Well, if he got his teeth done, he's probably need some painkillers, right?
Yeah. So we're walking. And this guy comes up to us. And me, I'm the biggest Pink Floyd fan, you know, like my dad. My dad was a big Pink Floyd.
But you don't like Rush. What the hell's wrong with you? Anyways, go ahead.
So we're walking, and this bum, this dude, this big, tall, fat dude comes up to us. And he's like, I can tell by the way you're dressed, you're a musician. I'm like, yeah, beat it. I was a musician once. And it's like, oh, yeah. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, thank you. And he's walking with us. And I'm like looking at this guy. And this is pre-internet. You know what I mean? You had to get to a hotel. We didn't have smartphones. There was no
right on.
Yeah. We're walking. This guy I was a musician once. And I was like, oh, that's great. Super fantastic.
Super fantastic.
Now we're walking. And he goes, have you ever heard of Syd Barrett? I'm like, oh, yeah. All that old Pink Floyd stuff's great, you know. He goes, you know, there were solo albums. I'm like, yeah, Barrett, Madcap Laughs. I've got them on vinyl. And the guy pats me on the back and goes, that's my boy. You know, he goes, or that's a boy, or whatever. And he walks off. We're sitting there walking. And then it's like the light bulb goes off. And you're looking for him. And it was Syd Barrett. And the irony of it was my dad was a big Pink Floyd fan. And I was sitting there wishing, you know, my dad could be with me that day. Give me a sign.
Wow.
Give me a sign, Dad, that you're with me.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
He's got a Pink Floyd prism on his tombstone. You know?
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, your dad? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So on his tombstone, we have the Pink Floyd.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon. And Syd Barrett walks up to me when I'm thinking about my dad. And I was like, you can't get any more sign than that. And it was really cool. And
wow.
So in honor of, you're going to get a whole story out of this. So in honor of meeting Syd Barrett, we didn't have any acid. So we decided we're going to get fucked up on.
Bring the money out, buddy.
We're going to get messed up on absinthe.
Okay.
So we start drinking absinthe.
Thank God it's not acid.
And we start drinking absinthe about lunchtime.
All right.
Somewhere about 7, 8 o'clock, we're drinking absinthe. And we were drinking at a bar, and it wasn't real Wormwood absinthe.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, Eddie, goes out, and he finds us for my birthday.
No, wait, you're drinking at like a local English pub right now, right?
Yeah. It's not the real stuff.
Okay.
For my birthday.
Pubs are cool, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're awesome. This guy goes out, and he finds a real bottle of Wormwood absinthe.
Ooh. Ouch.
And it wasn't like that little bottle I got there. It was a real big bottle.
Let's keep that one sealed, by the way.
Yeah. And we ended up drinking this whole bottle. And
Why am I not surprised?
And we end up at the Hard Rock Cafe in London.
Okay.
And Zack's drinking with us. Zakk, who doesn't drink hard liquor.
Yes.
And there's no tables for us because it's, whatever, a weekend or I don't know. I can't remember.
It's busy in there.
All I know, it's the Hard Rock in London.
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
the first Hard Rock.
Very cool.
And we'd come in there drunk as skunks, and there's no tables for us. So they suggest that we go to the vault, which
What is that?
It holds Bob Dylan stuff and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff and Jimi Hendrix's stuff.
Okay.
You can go take a tour of the vault, but they gave us a private tour of the vault.
Meaning?
And to keep us out of the damn
General population.
population, because they didn't have any tables for us. They sent us away.
Yes.
In the nicest, politest way that the English can do.
They wanted you away from the population.
Please go see the vault. So we went to the vault.
Was there a table for you eating there? Or
No. And what you do is you go down there, and they've got like Kurt Cobain stuff there, and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff.
Really? Because there's a curator for all that stuff, right?
Yep. Elvis's karate jacket, and I know this because I'm wearing these things. Cobain sunglasses, Elvis's karate jacket, John Lennon's jacket from Central Park.
Please tell me you didn't grab them and put them on.
Oh yeah. Oh, come on. We're drinking absinthe.
They were in arm's reach.
They let us do it. Hang on. When you're me, you can do anything you want. But I mean to brag. I'm kind of a big deal. But,
at least tonight.
there's pictures of me and Zakk playing Hendrix's Flying V, and it's on my Instagram. You can go look.
That's nuts.
And see me playing the Flying V, and we're sitting on Hendrix's couch with his pillows, playing his Flying V. And Zack's kissing it, he's licking it, hoping some Hendrix's mojo rubs off him. I'm playing it. I got like Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar. I've got Elvis's karate jacket on, and we're having a blast down there in the vault. And then eventually they have to open it back up to the public, so we have to leave. So we go back up, hoping that there's going to be a table. Now, check it out. We've been drinking all night. Now, do I sound messed up? I was drinking before I even got here.
Right.
And I don't mind you.
You control your liquor pretty good.
Mind you, Eric, I don't drink.
No, never.
And so we go over, and I had a camera anywhere I went. And so Zakk and I are sitting at this bar at this Hard Rock. It's jam-packed. He's spilling drinks. It's just dropping shit on everybody.
This is in the drunk era, Zakk, right?
Yeah. So we go to the bar. They find me and Zakk a seat at the bar because there's nothing else. There's a whole shitload of us. And we're sitting there, but we're on absinthe. All right, so we're pretty messed up. And we sit down in general population. They got two seats at the bar. We're sitting there, and Zack's guitar's hanging there on the wall.
That's cool.
And it's awesome. And we're having drinks. And he looks at the guitar.
Oh, no.
And he goes, let me get some change.
Oh, no.
So, it's because of you I got to jump around like a trained monkey on stage.
Wait, what? Because of you?
No, because of the guitar.
Oh.
So, wait, what?
Back up. Zack's now having a conversation
with
his guitar that's hanging on the wall.
He's like, you know what? Fuck you. He goes, because of you, I got to jump around like a trained monkey on stage on a leash. It's because of you. What?
Really?
What? Really? Really?
Wait,
oh, really?
no. Now the guitar's talking back to him.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't hear it now.
Oh, he's having a full conversation with it.
Okay. Right on.
He comes up on the bar. And here I am. I look like a Japanese tourist. Sorry, Japanese people. With a camera. And I start taking pictures. He reaches into his beer well, and he throws a beer bottle at the guitar.
Wow.
And here's me, instead of stopping him. Oh, high and to the right, Rocker. You took out John Lennon's, John Lennon's Rickenbacker. Try again. He reaches down his beer well, and and I have pictures of all this.
Wow.
And he's throwing guitar. He's like, He's standing on the bar throwing. People are running.
Hard Rock London, right?
Hard Rock London.
Wow.
People are ducking. People are jumping, trying to get out of the way. He's throwing stuff. I have pictures of the bartender trying to get him off the bar. Blah, 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 blah.
Crazy.
He's throwing, it's because of you. It's because of you.
He probably has a point.
It was. The next thing I know, they're ushering us out of the Hard Rock. Unbeknownst to me, Craigo, who had just got his beautiful teeth done,
The drummer.
is being ushered out as well.
Why?
No, they're throwing us all out. We're all in Black Label gear. Anybody with Black Label gear.
Oh, yes.
And Craigo walks out the wrong door. And he walks into the kitchen where someone pops him right in the front teeth and knocks his new front teeth out.
You gotta get me. You gotta be kidding me.
They throw us out. The woo-doo, 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 woo-doo.
The
Police are
old,
coming.
yeah, the old British
They're coming.
police siren, right?
This is no shit. Brian Crowley, the great-great-grandson of Aleister Crowley, pulls up in a van and goes, "Get in, you bunch of idiots." We get in this van, and Brian drives us off. With the funny thing is, it's London traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Woo-doo, woo-doo, woo-doo. And we're in a van, and we're going to go to the next block and stop. And the police come to the next block and stop. And we're going to go to the next block and red light. Oh, stop. And they didn't get out. They didn't follow us. You know, we're just sitting there. And we got away eventually. But
So Aleister Crowley's descendant was there.
yeah, Brian
Who
Crowley.
sent him? Ozzy?
No. Brian was there to take care of us.
Okay.
Brian had been taking care of us.
Okay.
I go back to London like 2-3 years later. I'll take my wife and my kid.
Oh, with your family.
I go back with my family. And we go to the Hard Rock. Now, I already know that I'm barred for life. One of the many places that I'm barred for life from. I already know I'm barred for life.
Oh,
I'll take my family to go eat lunch at the Hard Rock. You know, who knew? We go back. We're sitting there. And this guy comes up and he goes, "We're having lunch." And the guy goes, "Excuse me, sir." I'm like, "Yeah, what's..." He goes, "When one says one's barred for life from an establishment, we usually mean one is barred for life." And my wife knows the story. She's like, "You're such an asshole." And I'm like, "What?"
You're on a family vacation.
I'm like, "I'm just here." And he goes, "Understand."
You guys went over there. It's a family on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, "Again, sir, when one is barred for life, they're barred for life from the establishment." He goes, "Is Mr. Wylde with you?" And I'm like, "No." It's very good. "Enjoy your meal, sir."
I'll let you go.
Let me go.
Because Zakk wasn't there.
Because Zakk wasn't there. So a couple minutes later, he comes back. He goes,
that's
"Would you and your
crazy.
family like to take a tour of the vault, a private tour?"
Oh, really? So they basically capitulated.
Either that or just to get me the hell out of there.
Oh, ouch.
So
okay. So the vault actually was basically to get the roughhousers out of the general population of the paying customers.
So we go across the street to the vault. We go down into it. And it was awesome. This guy Jimmy ran the place at the time, and he was the curator. And we walk in there, and the guy looks up after 2 years, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen," he goes, "you see the things that make rock and roll history." And he's going on, and we're like, "Oh, wow, this is cool." You know, we're like standing with the crowd.
See a tour going on.
Yeah, there's a tour going on. Yeah,
Right.
The public was there. You see the things that make rock and roll history. These guitars on the wall
Right.
are
Kind
just
of like in here, right?
are mere instruments of, you know, what rock and roll is,
Sure.
the rock and roll lifestyle. He goes, "It's very, 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 very rarely do we have someone who is here that is part of rock and roll history, not part of just rock and roll history, but part of rock and roll hard rock history." And I'm like, they go, "And we have someone like that here today." And I'm like, "Wow, this is the greatest thing ever." I'm like, "I wonder who's here. I wonder who could be here that's part of rock and roll history that's
Who am I missing here, right?
And I'm like looking around going, "This is great. I can't wait to meet somebody. Maybe I can get an autograph, get my camera ready."
Yeah.
And like right there, this man, and everybody turns and looks at me, and I'm going, I got my camera. I'm like fucking around with my camera. I'm looking at my camera, and I'm like going, "What?" He goes, "This man has given us one of the greatest stories of the Hard Rock Cafe."
No shit.
And they're like, and everybody's like clapping, and I'm going,
Oh, that's great. That's great. You
you know, like the queen, you know.
Of debauchery.
And my wife's like, "You're such an asshole, such an idiot." And
Zakk's put you in certainly some interesting predicaments.
we've been thrown out of more places. So, but the best thing about this is, I have pictures of my kid sitting on Hendrix's couch.
That's very cool.
Me playing Hendrix's guitar again.
Wow.
Jenna sitting on Hendrix's couch with the tea set that John Lennon brought back from India.
Yeah.
She's playing with tea. While this guy tries to explain to my ex-wife all the debauchery that happened. She's like, "He's an idiot. He's an idiot."
You can't make that up, man.
No, man. He's like, "He's such an idiot." I hate him. That's why I hate him.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But just so it's funny to me. That's all that counts, you know?
Yeah,
and we had a blast.
In the end.
And in the end.
What was, so just abstract questions. What was the worst I know what your answer is going to be, or I'm guessing. But I was going to ask you, what's the worst country that you've had what is the country you had a worst, how do I phrase this to be politically correct?
First time?
Freddie and I are different. Freddie is definitely your moderate, you're liberal to some degree. I'm kind of like in the middle, like I lean right, so I got to be careful how I actually say this. What was the country you had the most difficult time in?
Well, I got kidnapped in Chile. That'll usually do it.
That I don't. That I'm not aware of.
I
was going to say India because you didn't dig India.
Oh.
Well, the India story is hysterical. So do tell. India, we'll put that on the back burner. What is going on with Chile? Because I'm not aware of that.
We got kidnapped, held hostage.
In Chile?
The
whole band?
No, the band left. It was the crew. And
what band is this?
INXS.
Nice.
And they I'll make this in a short one. They shook down the band for money. And
at the airport.
No, that's Peru at the airport. We're not going to talk about Peru. But wow, man, I can't eat enough popcorn. So
thank God you brought it. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
So we're sitting there, and
I can't believe you brought it here. It is what it is.
It's me.
No, I kind of believe it. Okay.
But yeah, so they tell us we can't take our gear off the side of the stage. In
Chile.
In Chile, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean?
What does that mean?
It's like, oh no, senor, you must go this way.
So your band is played, which INXS.
We're done. Everybody leaves.
And now basically you're breaking down the set quickly and exiting the stage with your equipment.
And they said, you cannot go that way because we want everything to go this way.
Okay.
We push everything this way. And the next thing you know, we're pushing our gear down, and like 18 dudes in suits get in front of us and say, senor, you cannot go any further because there is a discrepancy of maybe $25,000. Like, what are you talking about, $25,000 US? Like, dude, I just want to get my shit in the truck. I want to go home. I'm tired. Senor, you must come with us. So they take us all to this room and say, you cannot leave this room.
You and the band?
Oh, no, us and the crew. The band's already gone.
Okay.
The band's already gone. Okay. Senor, you cannot leave until we get our $25,000.
US dollars.
You know what? I'm going to change. Screw you guys. And they're like, senor, it's not the... I'm like, you know what? And they're all Australian guys. You know what I mean? There's an Australian group. And I'm going, you know what? Screw this. I pull a knife. And there's like 18 dudes in suits, like big gorillas. And I'm like, I've got to go get my shit outside.
Right.
I'm going to go get my shit outside. And
wait, Fred's not out of money for swearing. He's throwing popcorn in the money drawer. I'm just... For those on the audio podcast, that's what's happening here.
So I go get my stuff, come back. They work out a deal. You know, all right, look, we'll give you $2,000 and you let us take our gear, blah, blah, blah. It's okay, senor, you may start again. So we start pushing our stuff. Go about 50 feet. Big gorilla goons get in front of us again.
That's crazy.
senor.
Third world countries.
Seems like there's a problem.
Naturally.
Seems like you owe us $22,000.
25 to 22.
Yeah, because they negotiated so we could move our gear. We move it a couple feet. It keeps going on and on.
A couple feet.
Yeah, we move a couple feet. They keep telling. So they're sitting there. It goes on and on and on. So we get to the truck. It's like $12,500. We get to the truck. Let us in the truck. Senor, there seems to be a problem. What's the problem? You owe us $12,500. It's like, look, man, we've given you the flights. We've given you the hotel. We've rescinded all this stuff. All right, what do you want? Okay. So they make some kind of deal.
It's trending in the right direction, right?
Yeah, it's going to get the stuff in the truck. All right. Yeah, we'll say it's $15,000 because the final number was $12,500. So they get down to everything's in the truck. Senor, it's a pleasure doing business with you.
Naturally.
Great. Truck lock goes on. We get stuff in the truck. Truck lock goes on. Truck starts to pull up. Another truck comes up in front and pulls in front of it. Senor, there seems to be a problem. $12,500 US dollars. Look, man. Just our gear's in the truck. Let's get out of here. See, that's where the problem is, senor. It is our truck with our lock, with our driver. But for, let's say, $12,500 US dollars, we can let you have our truck, our lock, and our driver, and your gear.
Ooh.
And so, so they shook us down for $25,000.
Wait, how much did you ultimately pay?
$25,000.
$25,000
it didn't have
U.S.
Didn't come out of my pocket. It came out of the band's pocket. But the hassle of being detained for like 3 hours by gorillas in suits. And they're all sitting there, man, you can't be pulling a knife on someone. Oh, yeah, I can. I don't know if you know this, but I'm nuts. And I'm pretty pissed off, and I just want to go to sleep. And, so we finally got it, but...
Wow.
But that's
Yeah, I never heard that one, pal.
There's a couple you haven't heard, but...
You talked one time to me about the joy of... You got to see a bunch of castles. You went to Transylvania.
Oh, Dracula's Castle, yeah.
Yeah. That must have been rewarding for you.
You know what? It was. And part of seeing things, Russia. Mm-hmm. Never in a million years believed I would be in Russia.
Sure.
Yeah. Romania.
That's where Transylvania is.
That's where Transylvania is. Just to go and see these things.
History.
That's my thing. I love history.
I know you do.
Love history. And just to be there, and Lisbon, Portugal, to see these, Castle St. George, and this is where Magellan left for the New World, And it's just amazing. The Colosseum in Rome, I've actually got to see and touch.
How many times have you been there?
Oh yeah,
multiple times.
I've also brought back a lot of things from these countries,
You do tell, Fred.
Historical artifacts, but it's to take a pebble off the ground of somewhere, in Iraq, it just.
You know what? Let's talk about that. You back in this, I think this is where I started. You and I started our political conversations at Boogie Street when you went to Iraq, and that was almost. How do I say this? That was you helped me moderate my position politically, which we're not going to talk about the details of that. But when you went to Iraq, and that was with Shinedown, and you saw, and I know Fred, you're a very patriotic person. I get that. My point was you had a chance to talk to these guys on the ground there. You were in some bad areas. I mean, it was
out to Qadim, Fallujah.
So USO, you went over there with the USO, right? Yep. So how did that whole thing happen?
Well, those guys, Brent and Jay and Brad and Barry, everything's for the troops. You know what I mean? These guys are over there.
Oh, no question.
These guys are over there busting their balls.
And we're talking 2006 and 7? 6 maybe?
Whatever.
5? 5?
6 maybe.
Okay.
whatever week Saddam Hussein got his guilty verdict. So these geniuses,
Saddam Hussein.
these geniuses decide that it'd be great to get a band to come in there and play the Marine Corps' birthday.
Yeah,
In,
remember that. I
in
couldn't
Fallujah.
believe you were going there.
Oh man, I went, and it was, you know what? It was
You
a lot.
loved it, I know.
That's one of those life-changing experiences.
Well, when you come back and telling me about it, kind of changed my life a little bit. It did.
And you know, to see these people over there, and I probably shouldn't be chewing on these seeds while I'm doing this.
Yeah, don't bust your teeth.
I've busted so many of them. But to see these people over there and to hear their stories of oppression,
Right.
and what they've had to endure, and it was changing.
We don't see that in American.
No.
right?
You know what? And we don't see that, and that's what's crazy, that we take things for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
We're spoon fed over here.
oh yeah, and these people they struggle. You know what I mean? And they're beautiful people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you know, to me it was just, you know, just to hear about, you know, the horrors of war
Right.
and stuff like that, and it just
And with the good, you came back and you told me, I'll never forget this. You said, Eric, there's a jump to hate Iraq in this country. You know, Iraq's the quote unquote enemy, and you said to me, yeah, their government and those jackwagons that are like making the rules over there, they're probably the enemy. But the people of Iraq are not the enemy of Americans. They're just not. And it really opened my eyes. I remember that.
and that's like that in every country, even the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have tons of friends over there in Russia right now. Well, not tons, but I have significant friends, and I contact them on Instagram. I stay in contact with them, and I love to hear from them. And it's weird when you think around. You know, like I said, when I was in school, Russia was, you know, the enemy.
Sure, we all, yeah.
They're all just people, man. People are people.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
if you
their
could-
governments, as
It's-
it's our governments too.
It's the governments. It's our government as well.
Right.
People are people. They just want to exist.
And rock and roll is something that unifies that, right?
There you go. That's exactly what I was getting to. And
Right.
it's unified through music. You know, these people love music, and you can communicate with music, with people, and it brings people together. And people can celebrate together, and you can forget about your country, and you can forget about your problems, and you can, because you're lost in having a good time, and you're there with someone you like.
Yeah.
You know, and you're doing something you like, and I think that's you know, music speaks universally to these things.
It breaks through political bullshit.
It breaks down the barriers,
Right.
and you know, they had that Moscow Peace Festival back in the
Yeah,
day and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Everybody kind of got hammered on the way over there.
Yeah, right.
Am I right? I mean, that was there's a whole freaking book written about that.
Yeah.
But to share something I probably never shared with you, which I have no problem telling. During the years we did work with Kiss with Paul Stanley, as you know, you're one of your good friends and one of my dear friends, Fran Stuber, the other half of the guitar tech equation for me here. He said to me, many tours back, Kiss kind of got knocked because they went to Venezuela for a gig. And this is when the Bonehead was running the company, or the country. What was his name? He passed away, whatever the jackass's name was. The point was, Fran told me, it was funny, like months later when he got home, he said, let me tell you something. He said, those people rocked out.
Oh,
they
yeah.
were so appreciative
Yeah.
of getting our band and our music and our ability to, you know, it wasn't a Western versus Eastern thing or a North versus South thing. It wasn't capitalism versus socialism. It was about rock and flipping roll.
It's about
And the
having fun.
music, yeah. And for that, like 2 hours and 10 minutes, Fran said to me, it was really rewarding for me to recognize how much those fans appreciated that we came here, you know, and that's, and my heart bleeds now for any, and you've helped me get there because, You and I met. I mean, I was a card carrying not right wing, but I was a card carrying Republican. I had my beliefs, and I've really come to the center, and I've been in the center for a long time, and it's because of the fact that oftentimes I think what we feel, and you've seen it in rock and roll and just touring, it's not what the people want. There's so many millions of people out there that are being led by 1 or 2 or 100 people, right, in terms of a government, that just want to have a good time. They just want to.
People want to live. People want to live their lives.
They want to. Yeah, and rock and roll is a unifying thing. And shame on us as a human species that we give control. There goes Kowalo. We give control though of like our state, our well-being, our quote unquote emotional state over a handful of people.
Yeah.
And music breaks that down, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I think that that's one of the things that, and over my years of touring, that's something that I really enjoyed, is to actually meet the people. And, you go to my Instagram site, and I'm seeing people that I met in South America, the people I met in Russia. And they're still there. Yeah. But to actually meet these people and to be able to talk to them and listen to them and know that you have something in common with them, I think that's the tie that binds everything. And then I would go back to these countries, and they would be looking forward to seeing you, and they bring you gifts, and they know your name.
Okay, so let's get real specific here for a second. Oh boy, this is emotional stuff. During the years of Boogie Street Guitars, one of the I'm going to name him and his wife, Frank and Belinda Compar.
Oh, I still talk to Frank.
And Frank and Belinda and those 2 beautiful children, they have been friends of mine. I've never been in the same room with them. I envy you because you've met them.
We've been to their house.
You've been to their house. Yep. So, on the Kiss front, George Exocross, I can't pronounce George's last name. He's the leader of the Kiss Army of Australia, which is a huge organization. Just I love George. I love Frank. These are people that, the politics, I don't even know how Australian politics work. I mean, who cares? The bottom line is we're unified by rock and roll.
Yep.
And these are just 2 examples of 2 wonderful people, and I love these 2 families. I mean, George's wife is phenomenal. I watched the kids grow up. Yeah. They have been so kind to my kids. I mean, my children, Gwendolyn and Major, they've kind of grown up with Boogie Street, and before there was a YouTube, or heaven forbid, a MySpace and all that stuff, we had the Boogie Board, which was a unifying part of the Boogie Street website where people would congregate.
Yeah.
Customers. There was a lot of young people on there that I really loved that would say, Eric, I can't really afford a Boogie Street guitar, but I dig Fred. I dig Black Label. I dig rock and roll. I love what you guys do, and someday I'm going to be able to afford a guitar. Those young people have grown up, and I'm still in contact with so many of them.
Exactly.
It's so rewarding.
Absolutely.
And the unifying thing, Fred, is music. And you know what? I think people just don't appreciate that fact that music cuts through. I'm not a Springsteen fan. I'm not a fan of like a lot of these bands who get political. Politics and rock and roll I want to keep separate. But I respect the fact that they took a stand and they are about unification. They are about bringing people together, cutting through the political bullshit. And you know what? Like Kiss is playing Detroit Rock City and rock and roll all night. And guess what? Some guy in Siberia, or some person in South America, or some person in like South Africa, or the Ukraine, or Detroit, or Winnipeg, or the Arctic Circle, or Hawaii.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. That music resonates with them. There's a common bond, and that's where you meet people and you befriend them. And this is the one part about what you have done in your travels that I really love. You've been able to meet so many people, and you have such an open mind that you've made so many friends. I mean, that's got to be an amazing feeling, right?
Oh, yeah. And like I said, to go back into these countries and see these people, like, literally when I got fired from Megadeth, I was sitting there thinking, I'm not going to get back to India. I'm not going to get back to see Raj. I'm not going to get back to see Sergey and Nastoya and Alexa.
You will.
It's just, it's,
You love the culture, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I love to learn new things. And that's, and I learn something all the time. And I think that if you go through a day and don't learn anything, it's a wasted day.
Right.
And I've wasted a lot of days. But
Me too.
But I've also learned, a lot of things that I took for granted.
Interesting.
You go down to South America and you see how these people live, and you gotta love it. I've been to India. I've been in the slums of Calcutta.
We're gonna talk about that in a second. I'm going there. You had a great story there about the soup.
Oh man!
But my point too, though, is to know Fred Kowalo, and many people think they know you, and I think a lot of people know of you, and they know bits of you, is that you are like a sponge. You absorb everything you're around. I can take this guy to a sandwich shop in Scott Township, which we did about 3 months ago. I needed a favor of Fred. I was going through a tough time, and I needed to vent. And while I was venting to Fred, which was very genuine, but you're so observant, you like to watch people and their mannerisms, their habits, and you're very appreciative of other people's circumstances. That's a very unique skill. And I would imagine when you travel abroad, that helps you. That has to help you. There's no question. I mean, we laugh and we joke about, the stories and all that. But in the end, you're very approachable, which, let's talk about that now. One of the things I've always gotten throughout the years when you were on the road was, Eric, you know what, man? Hey, I met Fred at the Medadeth show. I met him at the Shinedown show and the Alice in Chains show. And, Mike, I can't believe, he took time and talked to me. He actually talked to me. And I would go, well, of course he talked to you. But there was an expectation of just people being mean or people of importance or people of, part of an operation that wouldn't give time to the quote-unquote average fan. There's no average fan. You're a fan of that band owes you something. And you always got that.
Oh, yeah.
And Fran Stuber, to his credit with Kiss, always got that. And you guys made time, even as difficult as it was, you made time for those fans. And you had an uncanny ability to tell what fan was really in a tough situation, and you went the extra mile for that. I will always love you for that. I've seen it personally. But talk about that a little bit. Why is your heart so open to these fans of these bands? Because it is, and I'm sure it hasn't been easy at times.
No, it gets rough. I mean, people are people, and I learned it from Zakk Wylde sign for everybody. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of the same way. I want to see people there to have a good time. I want to give you the experience. This is off track, but I met a guy at NAMM show a couple years ago, and I hold court, the drunken idiot that I am.
You're holding court tonight, pal.
And so
I'm the host, pal.
This guy comes up to me and he says, "You changed my life."
Yeah.
I said, "What?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "I was just some kid. And all I wanted to do was I built an amp, and I wanted to have Zakk Wylde hear my amp." This was in Toronto, Canada. And the guy comes up. He goes, "Do you remember me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you." And
he does have an uncanny memory. You do. You have a very uncanny memory.
He said, all I wanted to do, and he proceeded to tell the people around us the story. And he said, "I went in there, all I wanted to do was, let Zakk Wylde hear this amp." And he said, "I expected him to just take it inside, leave me outside, and blah, blah, blah." He goes, "I didn't know if I was going to get the amp back or not." He said, "The next thing I know, he's coming back with backstage passes, and you're walking me in there."
Right.
And he says, "You walk me up to the stage, you put my amp on Zakk's rig, you plug it in, you give me Zakk Wylde's guitar, and you say, 'Go ahead and play it.'"
Right.
And the guy's like, "What?" He goes, "Do you want to hear what it sounds like on stage?"
Yeah.
He goes, I just want to know what Zakk thinks of it. I'm like,
how cool is that?
I mean, he'll be in here. And this kid was 16. He was like 16 years old.
Right.
And he told all these people years later, I've got a picture of me and him somewhere. But he said, he was telling these people at NAMM, he's like, figure that was 10, 15 years ago. He's like, this guy changed my life. Now the guy builds amps.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he made that his. He goes, I played my homemade amp that I wanted to, I was proud of and wanted Zakk Wylde to hear. And you took it on stage and you plugged it in, and I played it on stage at the Molson Center or whatever the hell it was, the Canadian Bell Center, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
He goes, that changed my life, and I went on to do, music because of that.
Well, dude, I can tell you point blank, I used to get emails like that all the time. Whether it was Black Label fans, Shinedown fans, Alice in Chains fans. Need I continue? It was Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It was, you were so approachable. And so the funny part about this whole thing is Fran Stuber, which I see Fran so infrequently because he's out in L.A., he's working with KISS. And I work with Fran. I worked with Fran probably closer than I worked with Paul for 8 years. And you were on the road a lot during that time. But you two guys are cut from the same cloth.
Oh, I love Fran.
You're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, Fran's awesome.
And it's so weird to me because, and let me throw a special, I don't like the word shout out, but a tip of the cap, Willie, if you're listening to me. Willie G, Dave Mustaine's tech, and someone I met through you, who has got a kind of a little bit of rough exterior online, but he's been nothing but an amazing,
he's a sweetheart,
good guy to me. And I guess what I'm saying to you is, I've also met some real jackasses.
They're out
that were guitar techs or quote unquote roadies.
Yep.
Not even guitar techs, just an average roadie who were just not real friendly.
Yeah.
And how do you balance that? Let's say you're out with Megadeth, and friends, what you don't know, which is mind-numbing to me, but I went to see Megadeth to meet Fred there, and Megadeth was never my kind of music. Great music in terms of rock and roll, but I wasn't a fan because it wasn't on my radar. I went and saw you at Megadeth in Pittsburgh just to hang out with you, I think, one pre-show, 2012, maybe, 11. I watched Willie G and Fred Kowalo set up the stage. People were going crazy. They were yelling at you. They were trying to get your attention. And I was amazed by that. And that only happens because you've got a stellar reputation and you've connected with these fans, and you've given fans that could get up there and reach you something unique that they remember about their band. And that is so, as a band, that's an asset. You guys are an asset, because where the artist might not want to be bothered, I get it. You guys make that experience. And Fran Stuber is cut from the same. You and Fran are hardly ever together. And I love when you go to NAMM, you guys take a picture together, which is so satisfying for me, really, because the three of us have not been in a room yet, hoping that happens soon. But you're cut from the same cloth. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes sense. And that's the thing. Here's the thing with me. When I was young, I went and saw
all the biggies, right?
Yeah. And I was at every concert, up front, blah, blah, blah. And I remember meeting Rudy Lyron, who's
that?
He was Mick Mars's tech.
Oh, for Crew.
Yep. And I was sitting there, and I read about him. And, I knew his name. I knew who he was. And I was yelling his name. And I asked him for some guitar picks. And he gave me some guitar picks, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And
a big thing then, huh?
Oh, hell yeah. And I just thought it was so cool. And years later, I met him again, and it was really cool. But I always remember these cats that were always so nice to me, because when I became a stagehand, I wasn't a guitar tech for years.
Right.
But I would ask these guys, why do you do that? How did you do this? Or why do it like this?
You were a sponge. You were learning.
And they would tell me, and I was always grateful to these guys that would tell me these things, because I was just a kid. I was nobody. And there were some great guys, and then there were some real big douchebags.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just remember there was a guy, Mike Sparks, who did Gary Rossington stuff. And this is when Bernice was still out on the road, when Gary's 58 was still out there. And he let me change a string. He showed me how he did his string changes.
Right.
And he was changing them on Bernice, and he let me change one string on Bernice. He said, if Gary ever finds out, I'm in trouble. But he showed me how he did it, and he let me do it on this famous.
And that's a moment for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's an incredible moment, and I still change strings the same way that he showed me. And I ran into him years later. I ran into him in Nashville by chance. And I said, are you Mike? And I told him the story. And he was just so happy that he didn't remember me, but he was thrilled that, you know, that his influence. And that's kind of what I do is if I can teach somebody something, I'll take my time and I'll show you. It's a unique experience for everybody.
But just giving someone an experience, like
and that's
a young kid just wants to. I'm talking to like that's Fred Kowalo.
And when
it's like,
and to me it makes me laugh because to me I'm just me. You know what I mean? I'm just some guy. I come home. I have. This is my job.
But it's, to me, it's a testament to how you handle people. And so part of the story I will share, and again, this is about you. It's not about me, Fred, but this is a great story. So Fred will laugh and make some corny joke about this, but I'll share this with you. So, huge Kiss fan my whole life, and Fred knows that, and Fred likes Kiss too. It isn't like it's we're not making fun of this, but I used to lobby Washburn's brass when I first started to bring Paul Stanley back. I'm not saying they brought him back because of me, but yeah, they knew we were going to run with his product, right? So Larry English, Washburn Brass calls me one day and says, "Hey, Paul Stanley's coming back, and he's going to call you." And I'm like, "Are you flipping kidding me?" So Paul calls. I missed the call. I still have the voicemail, but the point was, it was literally like a dream come true to me. So the first thing that was happening was, and you, Fred, you told me, you go, "Eric, be aware they're kind of like not doing anything, and he's out on a solo tour." And I was like, "What?" And you're like, "Yeah, he's going to do a solo thing," and that's ultimately what happened in the beginning. So that night, Paul Stanley was coming, and I talked to Paul, and we were going to do some unique work with the guitar and all that stuff. And Paul Stanley was coming to Pittsburgh. So I was told by Washburn that you are going to be taken care of first class, yada, yada, yada. My wife at the time, who's long gone, did not see the importance of how this night was pretty big to me. But you did. And so I called you the middle of the day, and you were scheduled to work that night, and you called off, and I said, "Fred, I'm this guy, the guitar tech from Paul Stanley, called me, and we have like backstage arrangements, and Paul wants to meet with us and see what we're going to do with the designs, and and Chrissy won't go. I'm being honest with you, she wouldn't go." You said, "Dude, let me make a phone call right back with you." So we went there that night, and the long and the short of it was, it probably was in the top 5 nights of my entire life. It was there. We got to the show. Paul was amazing with us. Fran Stuber couldn't have been better than with us. We took photos. But do you remember the story? And I'll let you tell of us. We went with Fran, and then all of a sudden they put us down, and you went and sat in our seats, and I had a photo pass. Yeah, amateur photographer I am. And then a very big gentleman came down and said, "Are you Eric McKenna?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you here with a guy named Fred?" I'm like, "Well, he's over there." And they brought us back. Do you want to carry this story from here? Because it's a monumental night in my life that you were hugely a part of.
So we went back, and I just remember
opening that door.
Did Fran
open the door for us and then left, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, we're like,
okay.
Because he had to work.
Yeah,
and we're just like, yeah,
open the door,
and then Paul comes in, and
You remember that night, right?
Eric's never at a loss for words.
Okay.
And Eric
was a loss for words.
Eric was at a loss for words. And me, it's not my, I mean.
Yeah, you're used to it.
I'm not part of Boogie. I mean, I was part of Boogie Street, but it was, you had all you knew all the details. So that's why we were there. And pretty much I was
like
speaking for Eric.
So Paul's smiling, right? And he goes, "Hi, guys." And I'm like, and I couldn't speak. And Fred goes, "Hey," and I watched you stick your hands up. "Hey, Paul, I'm Fred Kowalo." And I was like, "Oh, I better follow his lead," right? But it was.
And he's like,
it took me for about a minute to get it straight.
And it was awesome.
And Paul was great, though. He was great.
He
was
a sweetheart.
Great.
And we actually, we gave him some guitars of our own design. We gave him the Southern Cross. And
no, we gave him.
No, not a Southern Cross.
Billy Club. And a Dizzy Gillespie model. Or whatever that was.
Was it
X50.
Was it an X50?
Yeah.
All right. I see.
We left them with a couple because I wanted to show them the quality.
That's exactly what it was.
And it was your idea. I wanted to show Paul. I wanted to say, "Hey, Paul, hey, we're doing this amazing, high quality stuff on the import side at a lower price point. I can do this for you."
And that's exactly. And he wasn't interested. And we gave him the guitars, and we said, give them to your kid. Do whatever you want. And like 2 days later, he called back and said,
"Yep, go ahead. You got a greater. Let it be, Fred."
He said, "Can you promise me this quality on the import side of my models?" I'm like, "We can guarantee it."
Yep.
And we went into business with him, and he was the greatest.
And that was you were. So I would have went by myself. I would have, but it was just having you there. It was such a monumental moment for me because, if you're lucky to get what you want in life, shut up and just ride with it. And that's kind of. and I was like, in my head going, we worked so hard, and Fred and I worked hard. I mean, we did there was a lot of other projects. Some didn't make it. We didn't hit home runs all the time.
Nah, but we did.
We did okay. My point was that was a monumental night in not just my life, but I think in what Boogie Street did from that point on.
Oh, that was,
And the show was, you have to admit, Fred, the show was unbelievable.
Oh,
I mean, that solo show was, his voice was just drop dead amazing. And I got to photograph the first, 4 or 5 songs. But the fact that you dropped what you did and knew that was, hey, this guy can't go alone there. And if you remember correctly, we weren't, Fran, if you're listening, we weren't really instructed on how to get in there.
No.
We didn't have any passes. And you're like, you know what, let's just go to the side of the building. I'm like, what are you doing, Fred? You basically got us in there. Fred goes to the back door of the loading and goes, "Hey, is Fran Stuber here?" And then boom, it was all took care of.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just a really...
I didn't want to have to go around the front with the normal people.
Yes, you did not. Yes, you got us in the back door, but
snuck in the back door.
It was such a, and again, to Fran, it was just another night on the tour. For you, it was another night basically going to a show. But to me, that was the culmination of a hell of a lot of work and a lot of luck, and it was a special night for me. I heard
luck. You're with me.
Well, hey, there you go. It was I always laugh, and I told Paul this multiple times years ago. That was the best Flippin' Kiss concert I've ever seen.
It was awesome.
Musically, right?
Awesome.
It was like that band was just so smoking,
It was awesome.
But the fact that you did that for me and you because I was a little timid then, and I don't know if I would have got the full effect of it all, but going by myself. But I'll never forget that. That was a very, very important part of what Boogie Street did, and again, old hat for you. And we'll have Fran on here in a couple in a week, I guess, because Kiss is coming to town, right?
Hopefully in a couple of days.
Yeah. So it's like that was a good thing, and that ushered in all the other things we did, and we were embraced by the Kiss Army.
Oh
and we served the Kiss Army and got to get all kinds of crazy guitars on, and a lot of the guitars that are around here. Fred donated a few of these guitars. I've had 2 other collectors, Mike Rice, and guys that have contributed some to the motif of this studio. But some of these creations here were like huge hits. And when you have someone of the Paul Stanley caliber, calling us and saying, "Hey, you guys hit a home run. I don't want to change a thing. This is perfect." That was so awesome, wasn't it?
And it's a wonderful testament to what Boogie Street was.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
So we should do it again.
No. this is your show, man. I'm sorry, but you were a huge part of what we did. And to me, it's almost like, it would never have been what it was.
All right, so we got to wrap this up, Fred. It's been
and so what I want to end this with was there's a famous line in a Pink Floyd song that talks about people living in quiet desperation. And I think quiet desperation happens when those who want more for their life, or just an opportunity maybe, they're afraid to take that chance. I think that's what quiet desperation is. And listen, I don't know why I didn't want to live that way. I can't. Listen, I'm not a brave person, and I have my insecurities, but there was something in me that said, hey, you know what? If I don't take that chance, I'm never gonna know. Some things work, some things don't. But if you don't swing the fucking bat, you're never gonna get there.
You're not gonna hit a home run,
right?
If you can't swing the bat, you can't.
And that's it. And I think it's you. I think that's where our connection is. As different as we are, Fred, I think that's the connection of we're willing to take that chance that, hey, somebody's got to do it. Why not be us? Right?
And that's, I wrote a short story one time, and that's what I said. We talked about my college earlier, and it all comes back to I wanted so much to be normal, but in the end, I had to go.
Right.
I was different. I had to accept the fact that this was my chosen.
You're a different guy.
And I'm not any different than anybody else, but my path was different.
Yeah, I felt that.
And I tried to bring that to everybody. I try to show everybody.
But you can't. In the end, you find out as you mature, people have to come to those conclusions on their own.
And they have to find their own path. I realized that I didn't go to a good call. I stayed with my friends because I wanted to, but there was always that longing to go out and see the world.
The pool.
And
you made it happen.
And I made it happen. And do I have regrets? A few. But you know what? I did it my way.
Amen, brother. Salute, brother.
Salute.
Thank you. You'll be back on again. This was amazing.
Oh, this is half.
Thank you for sharing. I know it is half, but thank you for sharing. It means a lot. All right.
Happy to be here.
Yep.
Cheers.
Eric McKenna Project.
Thanks for the Guinness.
Podcast number 3 in the books. God bless you all. Talk
Cheers.
to you. Cheers. Salute.